go to at Joyscore Inc. or at Suzanne.
Don't know and don't care, but to be fair,
watching us.
stream,
We got a video. I'm talking.
There's a video playing of Sean and them.
Huh? We got a little
Okay,
technical
there you are.
difficulty,
Hold
ladies and
on.
gentlemen.
Maybe it's weird.
Maybe
It's showing.
maybe it's just a little on delay.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah,
okay,
sometimes we have a little technical glitch that goes on every once in a while because we got so many streams going out. So now we're just
making sure we're good. I'm sorry to interrupt your cold
no,
shower.
No, my cold
We're
shower.
good.
But there's that progression from relaxation into a sense of being able to do anything to feeling free, and then stepping into the space that I have to actually function in on a high level, typically, in order to pick up the nuances of whatever it is that I'm doing. And that's how I keep my joy score up. This week it was, especially when I get vulnerable or if I get angry, I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into an idiot. And I try to pull that back as quickly as possible. Or at least if I'm going to get angry, I have to be in a safe space.
Yes.
Where I'm not going to damage anything. I'm not going to destroy a career. I'm not going to destroy an opportunity, because God knows I've done that.
Well, it sounds like you have some good tools there, Thomas.
Well, thanks to Dr. Bob and this freaking opportunity that he's given us, and he's got that wonderful book that he's pushing. I guess we're going to read a couple of chapters out of that. He's going to turn it into an audio book, yeah?
Yeah, we have some chapters to read.
Did you pick a chapter to read?
No, not yet. We're going to read towards the end of the book, so that's like wealth, I think, in those chapters. So
Wealth?
Yeah.
That's the one you're going to read? You're going to read wealth? Prosperity?
I'm just trying to remember the chapters in order, and I think that's towar's the end.
Well, you got the book right there.
This isn't the book, but breathing, that's a good chapter for you to read.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
And also a highlight was in that ice cream shop when I had that little chocolate vegan ice cream.
Yeah.
Dina
brought you joy.
Dina has a cool story. Ice cream shop's really cool.
Yeah.
And how she got that going and how she keeps expanding it. And just the look on people's faces when they walk into that shop. The looks on those kids' faces when they're looking through the mirror and stuff like that. You guys probably saw that on some of the promo that we just showed. But we're going to show another longer promo of her shop and what goes on in there in a little bit. And in a moment, just before we're going to actually show that in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that for sure. But that was fun. That was fun to be able to go to a guest place where they function and capture the real life essence of where they work and how they grow and how they expand in the place where they are of a service to their communities. That's really an awesome privilege to be able to step in there and do that.
Absolutely. I was really impressed with her staff.
And then we have Sean Hill, who's extremely talented spoken word artist. And not only that, he's just not just spoken word artist. So any spoken word artist has to have that magic about them.
Right.
But I think we can go down into the real spiritual essence of what's possible for an artist with this guy. So I'm looking forward to getting into that conversation. You want to stay tuned for that too as well, because
we barely scratched the surface when he was here.
We scratched the surface with this guy, and this guy is really super awesome. But right now we have
Dina.
We have Dina. We have
Amadril.
We have dinaamadril, and we're going to get her in here as soon as we can. But what we want to do is show you this little promo of her. And Tom, it's a 2-minute promo.
Second, number 2.
So you guys watch that, and then when we come back, she's going to be sitting here. Okay, let's go to that. That don't make you happy. Nothing in this world will, baby. That's ice cream. That's ice cream.
So we're here at the Long Beach Creamery, locally organic, handmade ice cream. They have 2 locations here in Long Beach, and a really fascinating story that we're going to hear a little bit later today when Dina comes in and talks to us about ice cream.
it. I like it a lot. I just want to make sure they do.
This is the something racer, but it is delicious. It's like a cherry with a fudge swirl in it. Really creamy, not overly sweet.
Y'all look really happy with your ice cream.
Just delicious.
Yeah. Nothing in this world will, baby. That's ice cream. That's ice cream. Ice cream, baby. Yo.
Why do you like ice cream?
Because it tastes good.
And how does it make you feel?
Very good.
Very good. Yeah. So we're about to have some vegan ice cream.
So we'll start you off here with pretty local health.
Sweet potato?
Purple Vietnamese sweet potatoes, roasted ourselves. Also attached to
Nice.
Hey, we're back on. We're back. Welcome back to Joy Score. Welcome back to Joy Score. We have dinaamadril here in the studio, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm in the house.
We have the ice cream
I'm
woman.
in the Joy Score.
We have the ice cream woman in the space.
Yeah.
We love you. We love your space. We love what you brought to this community. We love the looks on people's faces. We love.
Yeah, isn't that the greatest part?
Oh my God! You
Yeah.
just sit there. You can just sit back and just absorb all that wonderful energy they got, and that's why you're part of why you're here. Because even just the essence of your job elevates people's well-being.
Yeah.
Do you
they're
notice
moving.
that?
Yeah.
You can't have a bad attitude when you go get ice cream. You just can't do it.
We've had a couple breakdowns, but they're usually people 5 and under.
Yeah, but not your employees.
No, they're great.
You have great employees.
Yeah.
I mean, they were very extremely helpful, and not only that, kind of involved. Like they cared.
Yeah, I think they all really get behind the mission that we're trying to portray, where it's all natural. We try to use as much of the food as possible, skins, whatever we can. We don't want any food waste. We don't want people to be unhappy when they come in. So when I hire people, I look for their kindness first.
I love that you shared that on the way in, that
Yeah.
you can't teach people kind. And share a little bit more about that, because I was contemplating about that. I'm like, you're right. You can embody it for yourself,
Yeah.
but it has to come from within.
That's what I mean. I can teach them how to scoop. I can teach them how to clean, but I cannot teach them how to be polite or be nice or kind to each other and kind to the public. So that's the number one thing I like to look for.
Why was that important to you?
I like to work with people that I like.
When did you realize that?
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when did you realize that?
I think probably the first time I got bad service at any other type of place. And it's so easy to give a good service, a good experience. It really is. If you just watch the person in the eye, you pay attention to what their energy's like, make suggestions to them, and everybody comes at it with a different angle. We have some people who sell with really high energy and enthusiasm, other people who like to talk softly about the ice cream, and then they can meet customers on the other side of the case that are kind of like them.
Well, you and Suzanne have something in common in that
Yeah.
in that respect. There's a bit of a food synergy there. She believes that because she's a food alchemist and she's a shaman. She does all this stuff. She does cooking classes. She does all this wonderful stuff. But one of the things that I hear her say every once in a while is like, if you got a bad attitude, it's going to go into the food.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys
You don't want negative people serving ice cream.
No. And I swear I probably have eaten some pissed off macaroni and cheese in the past, because this is something that just didn't make you feel good.
Yeah, how do you screw up macaroni and cheese, for God's
don't,
sakes?
But if you
can't
really
even-
at it, yeah.
That's the only way you could screw up mac and cheese.
Yeah, you're mad at it. Yeah.
Call it names, slap it around.
Well, the one has to stay hot and gooey, and the other one has to stay hard and frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you managed to bring this wonderful little gift into the city of Long Beach, and what was the journey there?
The journey there was a journey of frustration, basically. I was at a job that I wasn't being able to be my full creative self.
Yeah.
And
What job was that?
it was a marketing job for a business credit company.
Oh, God,
And
I'm bored already.
Yeah, see? And I always had to explain who I was, what I was doing, what our business was like. And I went over to my neighbor's house one time. Her name's Sasha, and she runs a farm called Farm Lot 59.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and she handed me her business card, and all it said on there was farmer. And I was like, damn, that's what I want. I want like a one-word thing that people can understand. That's what I am.
Farmer.
Yeah.
Farmer. It was beautiful.
Yeah, but what's your one word?
It's 3 words. But I couldn't.
Ice cream maker.
I was like, Suzanne, you didn't tell me the one word thing that she had
She
going
did
on.
ice cream maker. I loved it because that was
I
on
like
your.
now ice cream artist.
Oh, I love
Because I
that.
think it's an artistry to what we're
Absolutely.
doing.
Tell us why
Yeah.
it's an art. How does it become an art? This
think
ice cream thing.
Well, the elements like alchemy come into play when you're
Yep.
mixing items together, like our ice cream cashew fennel chip. You guys probably
Yeah,
you might
I
have
tasted it yesterday. It was amazing.
You had that? Oh,
And it came to me in more of a dream, and then I had to put the pieces together of how did like what was that dream like? What did I really want to do with those cashews? We
How
needed salt and
wonderful is
pepper.
that?
Yeah, and so that's to me that's kind of the artistry and
So
the
what's the
playing
name of
with
that
it and
ice cream?
tweaking it. Cashew fennel chip.
so
It's
you
really
guys got to
yummy.
go over there, and if you
delicious.
have caffeine fennel chip ice cream, you will be
Cashew.
cashew fennel ice cream.
That's why you made that.
You
face.
will be. You will be eating Dina's dream.
Yeah.
That's a dream ice cream that came
It's a
out of
dream.
that shop.
Yeah, and it's just one of them. Like the one coming up, we're going to make one on Friday. This might sound funny, but plum cheese crumble. So it's going to be a plum jam with a crumble that has
Is that new?
Gruyere cheese.
Is that going to be a new thing?
It's a new one.
Do you use the new things that you come up with to market?
Yeah. Because we show people what we're doing as we're making the ice
It's
cream.
not plum cheese fennel. It's plum cheese what?
No.
Plum cheese crumble.
Plum cheese
I'll
crumble.
repeat the food terms.
Mine would be like plum cheese fennel. Yuck.
No.
No.
Plum cheese crumble.
Crumble.
Crumble. Yeah.
Plum cheese crumble. See, it's already fun. You got to
It
figure
is
out
fun.
what to call it, and it's a plum cheese
Yeah, you can
crumble.
skip around
Yeah.
and say
Plum
it 10
cheese
times
crumble.
fast and see who
Plum
can do
cheese
it the
crumble.
longest.
Plum cheese crumble.
You're crumbling now.
I'm crumbling.
You're crumbling.
So that's really cool. So the art of it, when you think of an art, you think of not knowing what you're stepping into, but you have all these elements available to you to wait to be inspired, I guess.
Right. And anything can inspire for making of an ice cream too. Like you go and have a appetizer somewhere, and you're constantly thinking, okay, how can I turn that into an ice cream? I can take this component and that component and make it translate into the cream and make a really nice flavor.
So your imagination, though, you must be a bit of a foodie because your imagination is blending the flavors and the spices and all that stuff that you've already sort of assembled, right?
I think I wasn't always a foodie. I'm like a ham sandwich girl, a chips and salsa, some simple, easy.
Oh.
But when I think about what could happen
Thomas,
in the cream,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you check the sound? Sorry, I'm like
that's okay.
managing. People are telling us they can't hear. Can you hear now, audience?
Can you hear now? Was
or
it off?
Sean, can you hear?
Was it muted? Was it? Okay. Well,
Okay.
how about now? Can you hear us, audience? Can
do
you
I
hear
have to
us?
say everything over again?
No,
Whoa,
plum
we'll
cheese
just-
crumble.
Plum cheese crumble, cashew
See,
fennel
I got
chip.
that shit right.
Yeah, you did. You did.
I got it right that time.
Let's see.
Just
Keep going.
Don't make me remember the last thing we said though. The caramel fennel spice.
I know. I know it's crazy.
Fennel chip.
Yeah, I
This
don't
is
even.
the true test to see if someone really is a foodie.
I'm not. I like
you
to
know
eat.
what?
I'm a foodie in the fact that I like to eat it.
Yeah, you like to eat it, but
What is it? What?
Are we on? Is this thing on?
Yeah,
What's happening?
you're going. Is it functioning back there?
yeah, Ron, you might just go in and check with Sean over there and see if he can hear us. That might be the
Yeah,
quickest way.
just check it. We got to make sure that our audio is working so you guys can hear us. Sometimes we'll run into a little bit of an audio problem.
He
with
can
all
hear.
this stuff.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Houston, we
Hey.
have made contact.
All right.
Hey,
So
good.
that was
All right.
maybe that was just our special moment.
Well, listen, she's got a palette. If she's an
Yeah.
artist, she's thinking. If I'm thinking like
Yeah.
a painter, then she's got her palette of ingredients, and then she has her to create in, and then you just go in there and you sit in the lotus position and you wait for divine inspiration.
Oh, I stand over a bowl and I
And wait.
and I wait to taste it.
Well, and can you share with a little bit with the listeners, so you shared that you worked in marketing, and you can see that extension in your space, like how you carry your creativity and branding and everything through there. But can you share a little bit about going from like just the ice cream, developing it, and then getting into the store? Like, you have freezers and all that stuff. That's a big
it's a big
endeavor.
Change. Yeah, I went from 12 little Cuisinarts in my dining room and living room, and I would chase them around and spin ice cream together.
What's a Cuisinart?
A little one quart ice cream maker.
Oh, a little ice cream maker.
Yeah, a little tiny guy, and I had a whole bunch of them. To having official big equipment.
Yeah, actually, I had one of those a long time ago. I had an ice cream maker. It was a big deal, like tiny.
And doing that was a big jump. It was selling a condo, investing your money.
Yeah,
changing all your.
Well, that's
your mind
you
about
sold your
job.
house.
Yeah,
you sold your house to
build
build your
cream.
shop. Mm-hmm. That's a humongous risk, but there must have been something that occurred there that let you know that it wasn't going to be that big of a risk.
Yeah, the people, the community got so behind the ice cream.
How do you get people behind an ice cream?
But we had an ice cream underground.
We did.
Yeah, for 18 months.
I was telling her I tried to take the kids there, and they kind of like shamed me that I shouldn't be taking them to a stranger's house for ice cream because they were doing raising
this
money.
This woman had an ice cream underground.
I did.
That's awesome.
And it was about an 18-month venture where I would make ice cream in my house and sell it by the pint. The people would come to tastings at the Farm Lot 59 or Wee Labs or my backyard at the end point where I got the cease and desist letters. But I didn't desist. I just kept on going.
So your underground got busted, and you were like, "Well, now's time to sell the condo and open a shop."
Yeah, it was the shit or get off the pot moment.
Well, you must have had some business experience. Or did you have somebody help you out with that, or was that just something you were just ready to do? You already.
My dad helped me out a whole bunch. He's like a business savant, and
well, that helps.
Yeah, and just the history of how I was raised and I was always making something and trying to sell something since I was young. And then I got stuck in a job.
What was the first thing you were trying to sell?
I sold keds that I painted, and then I sold little earrings that had gems on them or whatever.
You painted the little keds for the kids?
Yeah.
Keds for the kids.
Keds for the kids. I painted myself.
Those things are going to be collector's items now.
It would. I almost got kicked out of Catholic school for selling all kinds of
Oh my gosh. You were an underground girl since a child. So you were an entrepreneur early on.
Yeah, very early. Yeah, I was always getting in trouble selling something. But, I mean, no drugs, but the other stuff. Ice cream is probably the closest to a drug that I'm selling.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Well, this is a little off the mark, but what's your biggest sales tip? What'd you learn?
Probably my biggest sales tip would be to believe in what you're selling. To make something that you think is worthy to sell. If you believe in it, you can sell it to anybody. It doesn't matter if somebody even owns it already. They'll buy it because you have passion for it.
Yeah, well, and it feeds through just like that energy of kindness. Your staff, and then what goes into the food transmits.
So you're sitting there. And I guess in your bio it says your friend had a little ice cream maker.
Yeah, this is Sasha again. She
Sasha
pops up
again.
all the time.
She had it, and then you tasted what she made, and then you realized you had one back in the attic or something, up in the attic.
Yeah, in my garage, I had one the whole time. So I just put it in the freezer, and then started looking online for ice cream recipes. And from that point on, I have not stopped making ice cream or thinking about ice cream or how can this become an ice cream.
It was your destiny. Are you in any stores?
That's beautiful.
I was in stores and a couple of the local ones, and then we kind of pulled it back because doing that wholesale thing
it's a
whole nother tale and a whole nother rules and regulations, and it's really, I don't know if that's the space I want to be in. Everybody thinks the winning this game, the food game, is getting into Whole Foods or Gelson's or whatnot. And to me, that takes the joy out of it.
Yeah.
I want to be able to create items and sell them direct to the people and to see their faces when they taste it. And I want to have that connection.
That's a wonderful crossover for any artist, actually. The moment they start, the moment they go big or they start getting pulled away from the essence of what actually inspired them. There's a plateauing that can happen with an artist until he figures out that new environment that they've been pulled into, and what is the creative impetus at that point. And that's pretty common. That's really cool that you wanted to maintain your creativity and maintain this wonderful nuanced exploration of this ice cream.
I think because that's what was killing me in that other job was I lost all those components.
Right.
And I'm very protective of them now because I don't want to lose it again. And I feel we're opening our third store coming up soon.
Wow.
And now I'm getting to the point where I'm not making ice cream anymore. Other people, we've trained them and they're doing beautiful jobs making ice cream themselves. But I feel like I'm farther away from the point that I really fell in love.
Right.
So I have to
get back
monitor
in there.
That. Yeah.
Well, making those the recipes that are coming through their dreams.
Yeah.
Mastering
and
that,
I'll
and then
send
pass
them
it
a
on.
little message. Okay, we're gonna put cheese in that. And they're like, what? What the fuck? We're putting cheese in that? Yeah, we're gonna put cheese in that. Why not?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
and where's your next store opening up?
Yeah,
in
where's that?
Bellflower.
Okay.
In Bellflower, the city I was born in. And we're going to open in Steelcraft, those shipping container food park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll be the dessert in that.
Very cool.
Area.
That's
we're
going to be
really
amazing.
excited about that.
You know what's cool is I see. I mean, even if you thought about your process, you'd be able to. I see like a workshop or a seminar in your future going into talking to corporate heads and how to stay vital in your little cubicles.
Right. I think that's really important. You can fall into this to-do list thing and it kills the passion for whatever you were working on.
You could just deliver them ice cream.
Could you
seminar, 1 scoop of ice cream.
In worst case scenario, if you went back into that old marketing grind as it was, would you be able to bring some of these creative tools back into that little space?
Yeah, definitely.
Like what? What would you bring back into a more simple job in order to stay alive in it? What would you bring?
I think first I'd bring breath, because whenever I was getting attacked or approached by I shouldn't say attacked, but I think that's how I felt, by other people who wanted to be in the marketing space that I was in, I would clench up. I'd lose myself, and then people are just batting off of this and think I wouldn't work with them because they probably had really great ideas. It's just I got rejective of them immediately because they felt like they were intrusive. So part of my unhappiness there was my own fault. Right. It wasn't all everybody else, It wasn't even a real terrible job. It was a great job.
She just brought in the essence of what we're all about here, and you just threw it out there. She said, "I just brought I'd bring breath into the space."
Well, breath, and she's actually recognizing where you probably could have had an attitude adjustment or perspective adjustment, where everything that you thought was so horrible wasn't, and just met it with a fresh lens.
Right.
Tell us, where'd you get this breath meditation, or where'd you hear that for the first time? Is that something you practice now? I mean, is it something that you conscientiously bring into your day to day?
I try. I don't always. I mean, before I started doing the hustle with ice cream, I did a lot of yoga. I practiced Tai Chi every Sunday.
Well, there it is.
Yeah. So I had a lot of that in my life. We did mandalas and all kinds of beautiful stuff.
How much is that? How much do you attribute that to your success now?
Probably a lot, because it helped me. At least it helped me see that there was another place to go to.
Yeah.
Like to look at the ice cream. Because in the beginning it was just me having fun, and then it was everybody wanted to eat it, and I gotta make it now, and it got to sometimes I hated it. Sometimes I hate this motherfucking ice cream, but other times I was just in love with the whole process.
Yeah.
So I was fluctuated back and forth, and I realized when I was hating it was when I was too blocked up.
Yeah. And what did you do to unblock?
The exercise, or just tasting another flavor again. It was like, damn, I gotta make that now. Now I gotta make this. Now I gotta make this.
And share some of the recipes you had, like roasted beet and guava and corn, and how you make them seasonal. And one of your staff was sharing how the kids order ice cream by color, so a lot of them like the beet because maybe strawberries is not in season right now, but they actually enjoy it.
They love the beets. Their parents don't like it. The parents think they're not going to like it, so they shut them down. They're like, "Oh no, don't get that one." But it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
the
it's
magenta
really vibrant
color, and they all want to eat it, and then they'll eat the whole thing. Yeah. So we did you a favor. Fed your
I've got to tell you, every person that's ever come in here has somehow opened up about this quintessential esoteric meditative repose that somehow they picked it up and were able to re-inspire themselves with just a simple moment-to-moment existence within whatever environment they were in, and they flourished in it.
Right.
I mean, we can't ignore how important some sort of a practice is to calm the mind and let it become placid, so that we can actually observe the objective reality of the space that we're in, so that we can actually create in that space and see what opportunities that it has for us. And every moment, I guess, is just loaded with opportunity from that perspective.
Right.
It's
Definitely.
it's the other one that takes us away and limits us and makes us look over our shoulder and worry about who's doing what and get involved in things we don't really have a business getting involved in. And as in running a business, you know that your time is finite and you have to get things done in order to deliver.
Right. I feel the finite nature of my time more now as we're adding on. You know, we're the 3 shops, and I got so much stuff to do. That
You're like, when am I going to get it all done?
And I don't pay attention to any bullshit anymore. I don't watch news. I don't, all that stuff is just stripped because I don't have time for it.
Right.
I have to focus on what's important to grow because now there's 30 people working for me.
Now you're responsible for 30 people.
Wow.
And I want to be responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
that.
go. Bringing jobs, baby.
Yeah.
You know
I'm a
what?
jobs train. But I would love to have more, and
Yeah.
I'd love to coach more people. At that part, I'd like to get, delve into more. People are also a big old headache, but they're beautiful at the same time.
Well,
Yeah.
as they learn, you can see, like, within the people that you have in there, they're reflecting this, this philosophy that you have, this how you go about seeing the world, and it definitely rubbing off on the people around you, and certainly you can feel it when you walk into your shop. Mm-hmm. And that can be carried over to your family. That can be carried over to your friends. I mean, a lot of times those people need leaders in those spaces. Just like if
Right.
but you don't get to pick those people. You don't go, well, you're not nice. You're still my dad. You're still my brother. Still my mother. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how to adapt. But still, those same tools that you're succeeding with can go into a hostile environment, and you can maintain your composure in those spaces. Yeah.
Right.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you actually face, or that you have faced?
With the business in particular?
With you in the business.
Me in the business? I think one of my bigger challenges right now is my physical body. Maintaining. I have to get to the point now where I'm maintaining that better.
Oh, right.
Because I'm standing up 10 hours a day.
Sweetheart, you're eating ice cream all day long.
I'm not actually. I don't eat a lot of ice. I taste.
I used to train swimmers, and a couple of these endurance athletes would swim around Manhattan when I taught swimming in Manhattan, and they'd have to fatten up. So they'd start eating like half a gallon of ice cream every night.
Oh, yeah,
so they would float better. If you float better, the more fat you got, the more buoyant you are, and the more buoyant you are in the water, the less energy you use, and you can glide through the water better.
Dang, I gotta go float.
Go swimming.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well,
No, but
just
I
be
do
on
have
your
to-
feet all day.
Yeah, being on my feet. In the beginning, my legs would swell. Things
Yeah.
like that would happen that I wouldn't expect, and I had to get compression socks and
Right.
research all this stuff. But I need to take care of that vessel a lot better so that I
Yeah.
can.
That's hard,
Be
though,
long- do it
finding
longer.
balance, especially when you have something that takes off and all your energy's there, that it's like, that other self-care of the body, or maybe eating perfectly balanced.
Are you kidding? As she gets more and more and more and more shake, she's going to crave more and more and more what she eats, and she's going to enjoy it even more and more in her senses.
No, I'm just saying that it's hard sometimes to, when you initially build something sometimes certain things fall away because you just don't have physical space in the day, right?
I'm just talking about it. Like she gets start getting in shape, then your senses start to pick up, and all of a sudden your sense of smell starts to get better,
Yeah.
and your
Thomas
taste
is
buds kind of
conspiring
wake
so he
up.
can have
Yeah.
a
No.
gallon
I'm
of
just
ice
saying,
cream.
I'm on a diet now. I gotta lose another 15, right? So, but I noticed that when I start getting hungry, my senses start waking up, and when I do take a bite of food, it's like that much more yummy.
Yeah, that's right. I need to get to that point again too, because then I'll make like a 7-cheese ice cream or something.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
A 7-cheese ice cream.
I gotta try this cheese ice cream. I didn't try any of that.
Cheese and ice cream is so good.
Yeah.
Like, how
So
do you
good.
manage to put those two together? You'd think the cheese would freeze up and
Well, cheese.
get hard as a rock.
We put a little cream cheese in
it's
every
ice
ice
cream.
cream base.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's
nice.
it helps keep it the right scooping not the right temperature, but the right scooping texture.
Right.
And those elements are so important. The texture of the ice
Yeah.
cream, all that kind of stuff, how much ice is in there. We had to control. There's real chemistry.
Yep.
Learning all that.
You know what I see in your
Absolutely.
future too? An ice cream making contest.
Yeah, probably. That could be cool.
Because then the winner could be featured in your shop, and then you
It
could
could be a
like,
recipe contest.
you could be like, damn, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like how they came up with that. Then you don't have to work so hard.
I think that's the part she loves. Though.
Yeah, that is the part I
Yeah,
love.
but think about a whole community like exploring the different nuances and different tastes of ice
we
cream and
have-
what they put in it and stuff.
A lot of ice creams have come from customer suggestions too. They suggest things, and then we're like, "Hey, well, let's put that together."
Whose
Or
idea
for
did you
employees.
steal?
Who's?
She's like, I stole no one's idea.
No,
I just added to it.
you just
Yeah.
added to it. You made
Suggestions. Yeah, I'm curious if you have avocado ice cream.
I have made it before, but only for like a catering gig one time.
Okay. Avocado and chocolate like each other a lot.
Oh, we did do that. We did.
Yeah.
We called it chococado. Now I forgot.
it. A chococado?
Chococado.
A chococado.
We
Can you
made-
believe a chococado? Chococado
like-
ice cream.
250 different kinds of or flavors of ice cream so far.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing. What's your
I've
favorite so
forgotten.
far?
I love Love Potion number 9, which is
Love potion number 9. What's that?
it's a cognac vanilla ice cream with strawberry
I had
and
that.
pepper jam.
Wow.
Did I have it?
No, you
No,
didn't have
I had
that
the
right
whiskey.
now.
I had the whiskey
You had whiskey
one.
vanilla. Yeah.
I had whiskey vanilla. That was awesome.
You're making us hungry.
Whiskey vanilla. What are some other names?
What means the ones that I've loved?
Yeah.
I like all the liquor ice creams. The black stout.
The
We
black
made it
stout?
with a couple different local beers like Smog City's. the
Black
Nothing.
stout ice cream.
Yeah.
That probably makes a good
Black
beer float.
stout
It's
ice
awesome.
cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I would like to try it now with 10 Miles. Their milk. They have a milk something. Milk stout. They call it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
Share a little bit about how Long Beach is an interesting food culture where there's a lot of artisan foods where, I don't know, I'd love to hear from your perspective because you're using locally grown food to make the ice cream.
Yeah, and we collaborate with a lot of other local food makers. So like Black Green Coffee, who roasts their own coffee. She's a female roaster up in North Long Beach. We use their coffee for anything we need for coffee.
What's the name of the coffee?
Black Ring Coffee.
Is it like for coffee drinking?
Yeah. That's the name
Black
of her,
Ring Coffee.
That's the name of her business, Black Ring Coffee.
And you put that in which ice cream that you have over there at the store at
Black Ring Coffee ice cream.
4141 4th Avenue?
It's called Black Ring Coffee ice cream. We also make mud pie with it. We use her
Mud-
coffee to make our dark, rich
Mud
chocolates.
pie, Black Ring Coffee. Wow.
You're gonna have to-
Mud pie is delicious.
Oh my
I used
God.
to make a
There's
mud
so
pie.
many.
Wow. Do you put cake in there or just use the chocolate and?
No, it's the coffee ice cream with a thick chocolate fudge
Yeah.
and chocolate cookie.
Ooh, wow, yum.
Yeah, it's a popular
And
one.
what's the name of that one?
Mud pie,
Mud pie.
Just mud pie, and you got all that cookie stuff in there. And
cookie and coffee and chocolate.
how about the? I guess some of it doesn't have milk in it, right?
Those are the vegan ones. Yeah,
Those are the vegan ones,
with the
but-
coconut base
But I guess how important is it to
and a sorbet too.
like? Do you have your own cow out back where you get the milk from, or what?
No, we get all our dairy though from Strauss Dairies up in Marin County.
Is it pasteurized or is it all whole?
It's all pasteurized.
Yeah, yeah. But can you tell the quality of it?
Yeah, they have pretty much the top quality. These cows live on better land than we live. They're looking at the ocean in Marin County.
geez.
It's
Nice.
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm almost looking at
They're
the ocean.
And they're eating
Yeah.
grass, beautiful grass-fed cows. And we chose Strauss because they go above and beyond with all their environmental stuff. All their cow crap,
Yeah.
but it's in a big methane digester, and they power their whole plant with that.
They're very eco-friendly.
turds,
They're
yeah.
very eco-friendly and sustainable. I guess they're more of a
And it's
sustainable
all beautiful.
operation.
Yeah, it's beautiful cream. Beautiful. They use everything they use is top notch.
It's funny. I love the fact that even Chef Paul that came in and said he used all the local people, the seasonal fruits and vegetables. I guess you're doing the same thing. I mean,
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. There's some stuff that we use that we can't find locally. Like you're not going to find locally made or grown chocolate or vanilla. Those things
Yeah.
have to be imported.
how many gallons of ice cream do you sell a day on a good day?
Geez, that's a good question. Because
Like
we
how
think
many
about it in
gallons?
scoops,
Yeah,
but we have like.
it must be like something weird and big.
And it's probably not as big as you would think. It's not as big as I would think. Probably maybe 30 gallons a day.
30 gallons of ice cream a day.
Yeah, at the two shops. Because we sell it by the scoop mostly and by
Yeah.
the pint. So
Right.
smaller amounts so that it becomes affordable.
Right.
Because to us, the price for everything that we're purchasing, because it's organic or local, it's very high. So I don't want to scare people too much.
Oh, you're not going to scare anybody. Just say
Yeah.
a couple more names, and you'll have a crowd. What? What's some more? What's some more names of ice cream?
What's names of the ice cream? Well, the one that gets us in the most trouble is the name LB Crack.
Oh,
LB
LB Crack.
ice
And what's an
cream.
LB Crack ice cream?
It's named that because of the cracker cookie.
Oh, the
that's
cracker
in the ice
cookie.
cream. But everybody relates it to, whatever they think of in history.
What, crack cocaine? In other words, they get addicted to it. They can't stop going in there and getting something. And it's probably cost as much as a hit of crack, too. It's probably about $5.
What else is in there? There's a cracker and what else?
Yeah, it's a saltine cracker that's coated in butter and sugar.
Oh, wow.
And caramelized. And then we put chocolate layer on top of that.
Can you say that again,
Wow.
Suzanne? Can you repeat that?
There's a saltine cracker with butter and sugar on top, and then we toast it though first, or caramelize it, and then put chocolate on top.
Oh, that sounds so yummy.
Yeah, very yummy. And
That's
then
just like
it's
out
in
of this
vanilla
world.
base.
Vanilla base with a chocolate fudge swirl.
Ooh,
Nice. What's another one?
Another one that's real popular. This thing.
4141 4th Street, Long Beach.
Our burnt caramel ice cream is
I've
very
tried
popular.
that.
Burnt caramel ice cream.
Yeah. A lot of people, or in the very beginning, I had a good friend that was, you shouldn't call it that. That's a terrible name. Like, nah, I'm going to move forward with
No,
that
we get
name.
burnt caramel because some of us, you cook the sugar in the bottom of the pan and it gets all pasty,
Yeah.
and sometimes you cook vegetables in there. Everybody knows what burnt caramel might possibly taste like. That's an
We're
easy
not
one.
gonna put vegetables in it. But
That's an easy one.
you
What,
put
sweet
vegetables in
potato.
it?
no, we don't put any vegetables
You
in
could
it.
go sweet potato. You could go sweet potato on that burnt caramel, and that would work. Sweet potato
That'd
would work in
probably
a
be good.
burnt caramel. See that? I'm coming up
There
with
you
something
go.
right now.
There you go, Thomas.
Sweet potato burnt caramel. Called to Thomas.
He kind of likes. He's kind of an interesting person to watch put concoctions together. It's kind of fun.
No. But that would definitely work.
Yeah,
even,
it would be.
you know?
It tastes good.
Because
You're right.
if you like have a sweet potato even with butter and you leave it in the pan and you smush it out, it kind of gets all like
Caramelized
that
at the bottom.
caramelized at the
Yeah.
bottom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
There you go.
every fruit or vegetable you can caramelize the sugars in there. That's what we do a lot of times, like when we play with strawberry or anything.
Oh, that's awesome. Caramelize the strawberry.
And you change the sugar inside the
Well,
item. And
So
then
I
it
was
goes in
curious
the
how
ice
you
cream.
got that roasted flavor. I had the sweet potato, the Japanese sweet potato,
yeah, the
but it
benimo.
tasted roasted, like
Yeah, we did
almost
roast
on an
them.
open fire. How did you get that?
We just roasted them on sheet pans
Okay.
with no parchment paper.
Yeah.
And so it did that whole thing that Thomas was just talking about, the caramelization at the
that-
bottom.
All right.
Yeah, and
It
they
was very
drip,
nice detail.
They drip this beautiful clear sugar.
4141 4th
Yeah.
Street. If you want to raise that joy score
was like, how did she get
instantaneously,
that
just the
in
thought
there?
of ice cream gets that joy score up. So you can see, I'm about ready to blast off here. I don't. What am I doing here? Get the 4141 Long Beach 4th Street.
We'll be banging on the glass.
Oh my God! Give me
Let
some
us
of
know.
that
Now, I
cracker
noticed-
crack,
I
caramel
noticed
crack
you are-
cracker.
Well, you have butter cake. Do you guys make that?
We make that too. Yeah, that's real popular right now.
It's really yummy.
That was crazy. That's actually
That is crack.
That is crack. That's not even a joke. I was like, I saw that you had a little piece of it cut up one
Yeah.
time a month ago when I went in there, just randomly. We went in there, and it was like a little piece, and I tasted it, and I was like so chewy and flaky, and I was like, oh my God. It was Kadri's birthday.
Yep.
It's like, you got to get
Yeah.
this. That was an awesome birthday present.
Yeah, we'll sell a bunch of them over the Thanksgiving
Yeah.
holiday. We sell them in a 13x9 sheet, and people buy them like crazy. It's great.
How much is a 13x9 sheet of that stuff?
The butter cake, I think we sold it last year, $32.95, something like that.
Oh my
That's awesome.
God! That's I mean, if you're swimming around Manhattan,
Really, that's I mean,
that's the
for
thing
all
to get.
organic, because if you cook at home, you know that it's actually, even if you were to make your own organic ice cream, you would spend more on your own ingredients than it would to go buy a pint from you guys.
Definitely.
So that's always what happens.
What's the name of another one?
Another ice cream okay, let's see. Why am I'm like blank? Midnight Oolong.
Midnight what?
Oolong.
Do that again.
Oh, I wanted to try that with midnight oolong. Is it mint
Midnight
and
Oolong.
tea, or what's in there?
Midnight
There's-
Oolong.
There's
Nice.
a black pearl oolong tea.
Yeah.
It's in
Black
it.
pearl
Sorry, I'm
oolong
popping my
tea.
peas. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Black. So what else is in there? You got something
It's,
other than
of course,
tea
a
in
lot
there.
of beautiful chocolate. So we take the black pearl oolong tea and we steep that, and then we do a nice, beautiful Calibo cocoa chocolate inside.
Calibo
and
cocoa chocolate.
That's a fun
chocolate, yeah, and then some sugar, organic sugar, and colettes, but it's basically the little chocolate drops. They go in there, about a 56% chocolate. It's beautiful, rich.
How'd you come up with that one?
That one, I wanted to change the chocolate flavor from being the chocolate flavor of my ice cream from being so bitter. And it was another one where I thought, well, I'm drinking tea at the time I'm thinking of this, and I'm like, I'm gonna just put this motherfucking shit in there. That's gonna work. I'm sorry.
No,
That's
it's okay.
okay. You're fine.
That was like 3-1. But if I figure if I put the tea in instead, because that's not bitter. When I drink coffee, it had a bitter flavor, but the tea didn't have the bitter flavor. And
Right.
It totally changed the texture of the ice cream, made it a little drier, and it tastes like fudge when you put it on your
Oh,
tongue.
nice cold. Oh, oolong,
Yeah.
oolong. What you call it? Oolong.
Midnight oolong.
Midnight oolong.
Yeah, that
Midnight
got my
oolong.
curiosity, but
Yeah.
I didn't taste it yesterday.
I like how you get.
beautiful.
I'm gonna try that one. That's a go. That's go time right there. Next
Yeah.
time I walk into that place, which will be sooner than
Try 'em
later, no
all.
doubt.
Yeah, after this conversation.
Well, we got your girl saying, "Hey, try them all." Although the sound was so bad, I didn't have my boom in there. But she said, "Yeah, you can try them all."
Yeah.
And we cut to like 20 cuts of people like trying everything.
I think we're getting some people get mad now because other people try so much and they're waiting in line to get up to the front. So we had to figure out now a mechanism to help everybody flow through the line a little bit better when it gets busy.
Right.
Because we do have a little kind of, you see anxious people in line like, why are they trying so many? My turn. When's it my turn?
Fine,
You know?
give me one of those then. Just make two. I'm back here. Make two then. Just make two.
Pass
That's what
it
I would do.
on.
I'd be like, make two. I'm waiting too long.
Yeah.
What else? What's another one? One more. At least one more.
Let's think. Okay, this one's going to throw you. Chanterelle mushroom.
Chanterelle
yeah.
mushroom.
What else do you put in there with that chanterelle mushroom?
So we take the chanterelle mushrooms and we cook them in butter until they're kind of translucent,
Yeah.
and then blend them up until they're really pureed really well. A little bit of cognac goes in there.
Yeah.
So chanterelle mushroom, butter, cognac, and it has a
Chanterelle mushroom,
very
cognac,
earthy
butter.
flavor to it. It's like a vanilla from the earth.
Forget
Right.
that. I'm going to get that oolong. I'm going to get that one.
It's yummy. I like chanterelle
I'm not
mushrooms.
gonna mix them up, too. I'm
They're
gonna have them in
expensive,
different cups.
those
They're
mushrooms.
expensive. Yeah, we only make a very small batch of that
Yeah.
every time we make it because not a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those that you have to have the palate for it. And once people do, though, they constantly ask, when are you going to bring the mushroom back?
Do you get that from the Central Coast, like local farmer? Or?
We get those from Engardia Brothers, and they got they purchased the mushrooms from the Kern County area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's really. I mean, you can tell at least how I am. I don't know how you feel over there, but
I'm ready for ice cream, but I'm curious about the donuts, the blueberry donuts.
yeah,
Oh,
tell
the
us about the
blueberry
blueberry donuts.
I
Yeah,
saw the
blueberry
I
donuts.
looked at all those pictures. I'm like, you're a woman incognito. You don't really reveal a lot about yourself. And then a lot of yummy ice cream and some donuts
Oh,
that
that'll
were
kill
ready
a
to
diet
be.
right there. That'll kill
Yeah.
a diet. Blueberry
These look
freaking
special.
donut.
Like,
Well,
but you didn't see any donuts at the shop yesterday.
No, the blueberry donut is an ice cream.
Oh.
Yeah, we make it in vegan style
Okay.
using donuts
Blueberry
from
donut
Caffeinated
ice cream.
Kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one where we do a lot of local collaboration. So our cream ice cream is used with Angel Food Donuts, old fashioned donuts. They're right next to us and on Long Beach Boulevard. They're like a block away. And then when we make the vegan style, we use Caffeinated Kitchen's donuts.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that everybody gets a little play. You know,
Yeah.
I like to, if we're going to be popular, I'd like to bring other people along for the ride too, if we
Right.
can. You know,
That's
help their
awesome.
business out.
No,
Yeah,
that's,
cross promoting is, as you know, in marketing is really
Yeah, it's
helpful.
powerful.
You know,
how is it doing
exchange.
business in Long Beach? Is it user friendly?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I mean, in the beginning, I was a little frustrated because everything when it's new, it's a little frustrating how to make this happen or that happen. We had a long wait opening the first shop because of plans getting lost and things happening, and I had to like call in a bunch of chips.
Right.
Call the mayor, call this person, and get people all riled up in order for us to.
That shouldn't have been too
Get
hard. You bring that
finally
freaking
open.
oolong in there, and boom, you got to. Hey, here's a gallon of oolong. You got to sign that paper right there. Give me that permit. Done.
Yeah, sometimes you can't be waiting around for it to happen. You got to go get it.
Yeah.
So I had
And
to move
share
people
a
around.
little bit about that for our listeners that are maybe, because that's a pretty, you know, a lot of people, I hear this a lot of the time, you know, working with people, they're like, they feel stuck in their job, but they have a dream or aspiration and they're just too hesitant to go for it. Can you share some words of encouragement to the listeners about going for it?
Well, I think the best thing that helped me was getting support and support from all the people who were eating the ice cream and wanted to have the next flavor or try the next component, try it. And I was sharing everything I was doing online. So it was easy for them to support me because they could talk. And during the whole launch of Long Beach Creamery, it was kind of like a community created a business.
Right.
And I was running it in a way, but everything that people were suggesting, I was putting into it. Like that our logo should look like this, that we should go to this location. I would share all the stuff I was looking at.
So it's at Long Beach Creamery. That's your Instagram.
Yeah, at Long Beach Creamery.
Is that also your Facebook?
Yeah, Long
At Long Beach Creamery. So you go there, you like that page, and then you'll know exactly what the updates are and all that stuff. That's really at Long Beach Creamery.
But I think too, for what you were saying, is you want to find support from external sources, but you also need to support yourself and listen to yourself.
Right.
Because I think that was one thing where every once in a while when I'd lose a little bit of faith or take a misstep, and just finding that other ingredient that I got obsessed with.
Yeah.
Or
How'd you misstep? Remember a misstep?
Misstep by, falling out of love with making ice cream occasionally, or just being angry about where I was at. Because when I was two jobbing it, I was doing the job.
Two jobbing it.
And making ice cream up until 12:30 at night, and then you wake up, do their other job.
I'm four jobbing it.
Yeah.
I'm four jobbing it. But you know what? You find that common denominator, and somehow it becomes all the same thing.
Right.
Just like if I can find that ground floor as I move into these different skill sets, I'm able to still enjoy them. I think that was a big thing. Well, that entrepreneurial spirit, though, it seems to be more alive than ever. Everybody seems to be realizing they don't need everything, but they need something that they love.
Right.
And it's like, what can I do to sustain myself, and what can I do to take care of my family? What can I do to, set something up for the future when I can't get out of bed? Stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like everything. It can be just enough, and as long as you're loving it. I heard that, the stat is 80% of the people that have a job don't like what they do.
Yeah, I think that was a stat I heard too.
And that's tough when you're not liking where you are, because you age quicker, you're sicker.
Well, it's not good
more.
for your joy score to be in a job you don't like.
Oh my God.
Definitely not.
Maybe that's the thing about the joy score is that the idea is not to accept that, but to utilize and re-see that space with a fresh pair of eyes and see it in a way that you can actually fill up with it. So the onus is on you to see it with a proper pair of eyes.
Absolutely.
Right?
But if you identify, we had Rion here, and he's an actor, and he was feeling a little frustrated with acting, so he decided to go back and be an insurance agent. And he's like, I just felt awkward in my clothing. I felt the whole thing was wrong. And so I think that's what we're talking about. There was no way he was going to get his joy score up high enough to sustain as an insurance agent.
That's how he knew he had to do what he had to do.
And that's how you kind of knew that you couldn't sustain where you were at anymore, that you needed to have your creative energy flowing and in creation process. And
I felt like the creation part or the creativity part was just getting squeezed to nothing. And it was becoming everybody else's interpretation at the marketing job rather than my interpretation.
And that's hard. I worked in the design field, architecture and design field, and that's it gets really parceled down. It's like you get 10% of design, and then you're building the building, which is fun. There's exciting parts about it, but if you need that creative juice and it's only a small part, you're gonna have to find other ways to fill it up.
Well, gosh, there's so many cool little life things in there, though. But especially she's talking about her own cycle, where she's falling out of love with the ice cream, and then she's cycling back around and then loving it and then not liking it. But that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And that's how we develop character. And if we're not going around the circle, because inevitably, whatever you begin, at some point, I'm enjoying it, I'm having fun with it, but that's going to turn into something else. And it's that something else and how we manage that something else that allows us to keep going and then develop our characters, develop enough self-will to understand how to sit in those uncomfortable spaces and still create in them. And that's just a reality. If we know that no matter what we start, no matter how much we love it, at some point we're going to be challenged with that task.
Yeah, it could turn on you a little bit.
Not because the task changes, but because how we're viewing it changes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then our character is then we start to grow as human beings, because now we're like, hey, I'm not going to throw in the towel. I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to figure out how to bring that Tai Chi into my ice cream making.
Right.
I'm going to figure out how to bring that yoga into my ice cream making, and I'm going to do a little breath, do a little asana. I'm going to take a walk around the block, clear my head, come back into my space of work, and then create something.
Super green ice cream.
Yeah.
Or angry ice cream with some hot sauce. Or some chili peppers.
Yeah.
Do you have hot ice cream?
Well, I can tell you, I made an angry ice cream one time. It was called Penang curry.
Ooh,
And
I
it
like Penang.
Sucked.
It did?
It sucked so bad.
Did you do coconut? Nice coconut base?
It was a Penang curry actually from a local
you
company.
took-
So I bought their curry sauce.
Yeah.
And I put it in ice cream with a little peanut butter. 'Cause
Ooh, yeah.
They taste good together when you're eating it in the noodles. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to be great. But
It didn't.
There's got to be a way to
sucks.
spice.
You know what? You could probably put a little lime in there, like a.
see, you're trying. That's
Yeah.
what I do. I'm like, how can I fix it?
Yeah.
How can I fix it? And then I just said, fuck.
Forget it. Now I'm gonna be
No.
thinking
Yeah, but
about
there's
that.
got to be a way. There's got to be a way to. There's got to be a way. Like you could have spicy chocolate.
Oh, we do that. Yeah, we got
See?
chocolate bomb.
Chocolate bomb. See, I'm gonna try that one too.
Yeah, it's good because we put the spice in the chocolate.
I'm definitely gonna get on that
melts
one.
in the end. Yeah,
I
it's
love that
beautiful.
one. Chocolate bomb.
Chocolate
Yeah.
bomb.
Chocolate bomb. Ha ha. Chocolate bomb. New discoveries
I
here
love
every
it.
moment. Right? And I want you to notice the entire time you've been in here, we ain't got nothing but smiles on our faces.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
There's something about the senses being activated, even food, but especially ice cream. I don't know if that's like put into me because like when I was a kid, the happy times were going to Dairy Queen and getting ice cream with the family, or going to hang out.
Yeah, well, the one guy said that yesterday at the shop. I don't know if you included in the promo, but he said, I said, what do you like about ice cream? He goes, it makes me feel youthful because it reminds us
Exactly.
of like when our parents took us out for an ice cream cone. It was usually a special treat. It's, a little
so
bit more
so
accessible
you got
these
all
days.
that
but
historical marketing built into your customer.
Yeah, we have all that nostalgia, the love, the everything that comes
Yeah.
with it.
Because
Yeah.
there wasn't a dude in there or a girl in there that wasn't like looking like a little kid.
Yeah, well, you can't really stay angry in a coffee ice cream shop.
You can't stay angry in an ice cream shop. So dump your psychologist, dump your Prozac, dump your lithium,
come to the
and
creamery.
get down to the freaking creamery and get
And they
your,
have vegans, so you don't have any. You can't use
Yeah.
any dietary restrictions.
and get your mojo on. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with
Well,
this
share where
audience?
to find you. The easiest, all the locations.
How many times can I say it? 4141 4th
Well,
Avenue,
no, she has one
2222
in
Broadway.
Bixby Hill.
Yeah,
And
the
the-
one in Bixby Knolls is at 4141 Long Beach Boulevard.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I said it wrong every
yeah,
time, why don't you
okay.
correct me? 4141
so
Long
much
Beach.
fun.
Everybody's
having
Googling.
this
Everybody's
alliteration.
Googling like 4th Street. There's no ice cream shop there.
There probably is. Maybe we'll do one. We'll put one.
4141.
Long Beach
And then
Boulevard.
Long Beach
222 Broadway.
222
East
You got
Broadway.
good number
You got
outcome.
great
Yeah.
numbers.
Don't we have good
And
numbers?
what's Bellflower going to be?
It's unfortunately it's not great. It's 16,500 or 16. Yeah.
That's still
5
easy. 16,500.
165.
And I think we're suite 145. So there's a couple fives and a zero.
165. Actually, you get 3, so you got the Trinity going there.
Okay.
And it adds up to
go.
it adds up to 12, which is the types of human beings that there are on the planet. So there you go. You're going to track all the types of human beings. You got 12 types, right? Like the astrological sign thing. 12,
Oh,
right?
those kind. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you got
She's
12.
like, what does that mean?
Where is it going?
6'1", 6'1".
I didn't know either for a second.
12. 12's a great number. 12's an awesome number.
And Dina, on the board here, your sister's been listening in. Everyone
Oh, cool.
is like
Hey.
saying nice things about you.
What are they saying? Ask them if they have any questions. I mean, we've got any questions for
you
the
can
ice cream
ask
lady?
You can ask them.
I just did. You got any questions for the ice cream lady?
I think it's your sister. She says the quick to blush tendency must run in the family. I do the same thing. I didn't notice that you were blushing, but I guess you're.
Oh, I told them when
Brenda, is that your friend, Brenda? Murillo?
If she says something nice, yeah, she's my
And
friend.
Sandra Carson, she likes strawberry too. She says you should name it after you. Georgie Ann says she loves your creativity with all the flavors.
Oh,
So you got lots of people watching.
yeah, I the community has been so great for us. I mean, basically the creamery was the community, or is the community.
So Matt Saracen says ice cream finally tastes great again with Long Beach Creamery.
Oh yeah,
Love me
Matt
some
was at our first tasting
Dina.
too at my house.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, it's
Jennifer's your cousin.
What's cool?
Draw
It's
your
a
family
special.
tree.
It's a special experience, though,
Yeah.
because of the love and the care and the thought and the creativity that's gone into it. It's not like going, doing the Ben and Jerry's thing. Although you stand there in 7-Eleven, you look at the freezer for about a half hour, and you wonder what they have left, and then you go into this place and it's the stuff's been looked after in a really cool way, and it's been a local has come up with it, and she's put her heart and soul into it.
Yeah, well,
you can taste that. You can taste that in the
important.
food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely can.
I think local economy is important, and plus tourism, because we have become such a world community that now people, when they travel, they look for these gems. They look for the ice creamery. So even if you're not in Long Beach, but you're traveling or you come through Long Beach, come check out one of the creameries.
Yeah, it's a place of destination. It's a destination.
Absolutely.
I originally thought, the name Long Beach Creamery was going to limit us. Like we couldn't really move out of Long Beach or whatever. But Long Beach it's coming into its own.
Absolutely.
It's cool, and it's gonna just get cooler and cooler. I don't know. I dig Long Beach. I've loved it ever since I drove down that Shoreline Drive and saw the city on one side and the ocean on the other. And
it's a taste of Long Beach. It's a taste of Long Beach love. There you go. Get down to the Long Beach Creamery and get your darn ice cream on.
Get it on.
Get it on.
It's been so lovely having you.
Yeah, it was great to talk with you guys.
And so much fun. I appreciate you coming out, incognito woman.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and we're gonna stalk your place until we've
all right.
tasted
I'll have
everything.
you arrested.
We'll have to run there, eat ice cream, run home.
Loitering. These sons of bitches over at Joy Score are stalking us. They're loitering. Loitering.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna send everybody down there. We're gonna be down there, and we're gonna definitely tell everybody we possibly could know that wants ice cream to get their butts down there. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thomas,
for being here.
Run
number 3.
Run number 3. Thank you so much. That don't make you happy. Nothing in this world will, baby. That's ice cream. That's ice cream.
So we're here at the Long Beach Creamery, locally organic, handmade ice cream.
No, and don't care, but to be fair.
Well, let's see where we go.
Wait, welcome back. How about that?
Welcome
How
back.
about that? We're all educated on ice cream, and if that didn't raise your joy score, I don't know what will. Although, you know what we're finding here is like anything seen properly can raise your joy score, and that's really what this art of living and art of perception is about. It's about how we see it, right?
Absolutely.
And right now we got a very dynamic individual in the booth here in the studio. We have the very dynamic injured Sean Hill.
And this man in general is really good about changing people's perspective.
Find that mic. Let's see if it's working for you.
Oh yeah. So,
No.
Oh, that one. Yeah. So you'll have to sit back a little bit.
I have to get comfy in here. I have to get cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Your sound is good. Much better than it was the last time we were in here. We're going to hear you loud and clear
I
now.
remember that. Yeah, that was back in 1934. Remember those jokes? Oh, good times, y'all. Good times.
So
when you walk 2 miles to school in the snow.
So what are you doing, man? You coming up with more riffs? What do you call
poems?
Poems.
Look at you! You're so deep. You don't even know the word for poem anymore. Look at you.
Yeah,
riff. I was thinking like something like some special name for what you do.
It is special.
It is.
Special name.
Yeah. I guess, you know what? That already brings up a great topic in terms of words and how much we don't appreciate them sometimes. A poem is a magnificent creature.
Absolutely.
And so many people forget how beautiful they are until they hear one again.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, I forgot how much I love that. And I was talking with Dina earlier. She used to write poems.
Oh, and
right?
so this will be interesting. Ice cream poems. Well, her ice cream recipes have a lot of whimsy to them. They'd be fun to create a poem.
They would be
too.
so cute.
I
Oh
like
my
to do
gosh.
that, like make little haikus with about food or just even one element of food.
I like that. Food haikus.
Food haikus. But you know, what's interesting is the other day that Thomas and I were talking. He was like, "Do you?" Because I write poetry, but he's like, "Do you ever recite them?" And I said, "I never recite my own poems." I've had to memorize others, but then I was like, I don't know why. And I thought maybe you could shed some light on us, the value of reciting.
You don't need to put them on if you don't want to.
I mean,
we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron.
You can if you want.
No, I'm good. Yeah. I already have my own headset right here.
Yeah.
well, listen, you were getting.
It looks better. Your hair looks better. We gotta have the full experience.
To be more specific with a word, what is a word? Have you put enough thought?
What is a word? Gosh, that's beautiful. In terms of an arbitrary symbol.
Nice.
That's probably the best thing I could call it. It's an arbitrary symbol for whatever we want to define it. I mean, words are basically anything that can be loaded with an emotion, with a thought, with an idea, and we spout them out at people, we share them with people, assuming that the word means the same thing to us that it means to them, right?
Context, right?
And that's where context, connotation, denotation all come into place, right?
Yeah, which could create mishaps left and right.
Suzanne.
Right?
Could.
Basically, because a word
definitely has.
Well, because
I like the way you were like, it maybe could. It possibly does. Maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
No. It doesn't really matter. You guys are having too much fun. The point is, you haven't really said much, but what you did say up through the few words that you used meant something.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. You can make a word, you can support it with whatever it is that you want.
Yeah.
Because it is just a symbol. It's static until you have some life force moving up through it. Right? Because the word is not the starting point. The word is the ending point. Yeah?
Well, it depends. It depends. Because even the thought, we're thinking in words a lot.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
that's a pretty deep contemplation. The
know.
word is not the starting point, it's the ending point.
Right? So if we're thinking in words, though, and those thoughts represent these symbols that we have of what these words mean and that we were brought up with,
right?
Then they already are loaded with so much information that we don't even understand yet fully, subconsciously or consciously, to get to a point where we say that thought now as a word, right? And it's the ending point, kind of, sort of, because even then, we're waiting till someone receives that word.
Right.
So it's very like not selfish. It has a negative connotation, but it's very it's almost like egocentric of us.
Watch the hand in front of your face, otherwise we won't see your beautiful face in that camera.
You. Thanks. I exfoliate. So the thing is, though, to get to a place
and that knee might be upstaging your face too. There you go.
Oh no, but I'm so comfortable, y'all. Like,
there you go. You're good now.
Yeah,
he wants you to have a full good photo op.
No, you're getting to something though, because
Tom is always looking out for me. Yeah.
Well, before we have words, babies communicate on many different all levels, right? So they don't have words. How do you explain that? So whatever the gaga goo goo is,
sound frequency.
It's an expression of some necessity,
right?
So that need or that platform of needing before we can even speak or feel is relevant very much to what you do, I would imagine.
Yeah. Symbols, right? I'm gonna give you some snaps for that.
Yeah, but that's not the performance aspect of it. You can write a poem and it can just sit there on a page,
right?
But then you get on stage and you bring that thing to life. So you must be coming onto the stage prepared with a particular way in which you'd like your audience to feel something.
You know what? This makes sense. One door closes, another one opens, hoping that quote makes you happy, but it won't unless you have the key. Gotta see every door to even explore your options. No need to wait to adopt a new philosophy. I know there's this part of you that wants to let go immediately of what you normally do, of what you normally allow yourself to be. It starts now with this breath. This very breath right now. No need for another door. Yours works just fine. So silly how we forget our own determined beauty. Happiness is a choice.
Yeah.
Like grabbing the door. Grab a new thought. Embrace your energy. Turn the key. Breathe. Turn that key. Please. Breathe.
Dude, I got goose pimples.
Right? So I figure I'll give you an example of what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And that was a sample from a song I did way back called Breathe. And how beautiful it is to be reminded of that in this conversation right now.
See, you just verified that something has to precede your work.
Right.
Something precedes the words that we speak to each other. There's always some sense of what we need for ourselves that allows us to need the words. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still, you know what? I guess I'm getting confused when you put that need before the words. You know, it feels like you're saying that's more important. Am I assuming incorrectly?
Well, I would say, what would your words be without that?
Well, that's the beauty. We don't have to wonder that. We have them working in tandem. They're best friends, thoughts and words.
Nice. They're dancing.
It's always. Oh, I love when you talk poetic. Oh, they are dancing. This never-ending, beautiful, metaphoric dance, right? This dance of simile and predicate and verbs and adjectives and all these things that line up so we can actually say something precisely how we're feeling or thinking, right? But we always get frustrated when we're like, oh, wait, do you understand what I mean? I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah, but
right?
here's something else for you to chew on. Why is that important?
Oh
what is all the speaking?
Good question.
What is all
the disconnect.
What is all
What do you mean? Why is this all important?
No, I'm just saying.
No, I know what he's doing.
Why
he's
are
doing
we
the angel advocate thing?
Yeah,
I'm not
but
calling it devil advocate. It's angel advocate.
No, I'm not devil in it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying why
Yes.
any words whatsoever? What is our need? What was our need to? What do you think our original need is to even come up with language? So many different languages. What was that? What is that impetus?
Well, the universe is just light and sound. So not just. I don't really like the word just because it minimizes things. But we're light and sound. So we have a need to vibrate. And all of a sudden it's like, imagine you're just a subatomic particle, and then all of a sudden you've taken form in a human body and you can orate. That's kind of exciting versus just oscillating and magnetizing to is it a neutron?
But there must have been somebody.
A proton?
Yeah.
Like, who was the first person to put together a sentence? And what was the impetus or the need to even do that in the first place? What's been our struggle to even get to the origin of your mastery?
I'll tell you right now.
Curiosity.
Does that not make sense?
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Exactly.
Curiosity.
Everything I just said to you just now, visually and mentally,
Yeah.
you could understand to some point, right? But I think for words, I think we kept trying to struggle with as many languages as we can, as many places and geographies as we've grown up in being as full human beings, to find any form of communication where we can keep expressing and keep finding ways to fine-tune that. Whether it's music, art, whatever it is. People can craft something out of wood and they feel full in that. They feel complete in doing that.
Right.
So it's any and all forms of communication. I don't even think language is, it's like almost insulting to language to say we needed to come up with language to express ourselves. We came up with everything to express ourselves.
And what do you think that basis was for?
I don't know. Unity, love, connection.
Thank you.
Understanding.
Thank you.
Empathy, compassion.
Thank you.
There's so many great
Well,
words.
also as you're sharing, it's a way to share an aspect of yourself, but especially like spoken word and poetry. You're actually sharing something deep from in your soul to someone else or out to all. And that expression is a way to expose the intimacy from within to the out.
Young man, you're a special man.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you're a special guy because you just glossed over the reason why we even talk.
Yeah.
And you said something. You said unity, and then you said love. And what are those two things doing simultaneously? Unity and love. What is that?
I think they're always in a state of this uniquely beautiful entropy, right? And they're kind of finding their balance within each other all the time. And I think
For the purpose of
just existing, coexisting. Sometimes I think that's hard enough.
coexisting. So you just said another word.
Yeah.
You just said another word.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Unity,
That's what I'm here for. Thomas,
love,
I'm here for.
coexistence.
Right.
Now, even now, we're not even not including hate speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not delegating like, oh, only nice talk.
Right.
But even in an angry fit, there's something within us that wants to free us from where we are to get somewhere else. And ideally and optimally, that's back to this place of love, unity, and our ability to coexist and to thrive and to expand and to create. But that creative thing is not like a given. The creative thing requires a particular type of perspective in order to keep it vibrant and expanding. So we're all like working towards this creative thing, but the base of it, hey, if we want to all be together, we all want to coexist, how are we going to do it? And we go to our words.
Yeah.
We go to our deep need to try to find balance with each other. And it's in finding balance that love actually happens. It's the balance of it. When we achieve the balance of it, through conversation, through good debate, now we have a purpose to speak. Now these words take on a significance of a grand significance, and you can tell throughout literature. You're probably a very well-read young man, but not all literature survives. Not everything we write lasts.
There's a lot of books that were burned in our history that we'll never have the joy of discovering.
Or not having the joy, or just didn't make it.
Just didn't make it, right?
Because there was an element in it that was missing.
Yeah.
Because maybe the writer was working for a result, as opposed to realizing that, hey, this piece is actually bringing the reader into balance with something else, maybe some other aspect of themselves. Because like every writer,
okay,
an intentional writer will go to work. Like, I don't know if you're.
I thought you were going to say about the writers that never made it, that never even wanted to put their ideas down because they didn't find the worth in them.
Oh,
those kind of. I thought you were going to go there with that, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's kind of like
a lot of ways.
So like if you go out onto the stage, like you're a performing artist, you're an actor, you're
host,
a man that the world needs to hear. You're a young man that the world needs to hear, and it's kind of like if you understand that purpose, like I'm going out there not for myself, but I'm going out there to unify an audience in my vision.
Right.
There's a way in which you have to perceive that in order to make those words effective. Perceive that relationship with that audience. That relationship with that audience has to come first for your best stuff, right?
Well, you know what? Now you're glossing over a lot of things that are heavy.
Bring me back.
So much lip gloss right now. So much gloss. It's you know what? And even my demeanor right now, I recognize that it can also be taken as full of ego and things like that. But I know there's a comfort in knowing and being at peace with what we know and understand already, and then that joy in experiencing it, right? So I almost want to say that in terms of these words and these ideas that we talk about, and whenever someone says to me something like that, where I'm special or I have these ideas that need to get shared, I remind myself that I'm not the only one. That there's so many ideas that are already out there. I wish I didn't have to do what I did. That's the sad, beautiful part, right? Where I wish I didn't have to do this work of unifying and reminding us that we're already connected. I wish I didn't have to dive into this work as much as I need to right now.
Then what's the need for speech then? Then you don't need the speech.
No, but that's the thing, is that we've forgotten so much of that, or we're being misinformed by people, or we were brought up in a way that just hurt us, and we had to unlearn so many things that were so painful to take in. And we're at this place now where as much as words matter, I think critical thinking and understanding are almost trumping that. They're almost making that more important, to actually care more about each other right here than if I'm right or wrong about an idea, or if you're right or wrong about something. We care more about each other.
Hence keeping us what? Balanced, together.
Yeah.
A clan of several billion, ideally.
Absolutely.
And so theoretically we're a clan of several billion.
Yeah.
We may go, certain cultures may value certain things more than others, but that's because that's what allows them to stay together.
Yeah.
Like within whatever their circumstances might be, their speech and their actions reflect what their necessities are, and the true
more or less what they've learned to be necessities, right?
In order to keep them together.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would say the value, as you're like accessing, because I love words, like. I like listening to scientific terminology. It actually excites me to even just be able to, as a linguist, be able to speak them. But right now we're like kind of in a place where people speak in acronyms that you could not understand, and we aren't willing to speak to one another. You know what I mean?
In what way? No, we're speaking to each other all the time.
Well,
so what do you mean? I'm so curious.
I mean, a lot of people, if you don't agree with me, not you, but the collective you,
right?
You may not want to talk to me.
Right.
You know, so a lot of our society is closed off because they're like, oh, it used to be you could have debate forum, you could do a spoken word prose, and it would cultivate conversation. We could actually take apart what you just said and say, this is how I interpret it. This is how I interpret it. Probably similar to how you do with your scene studies with characters and the story. Is everyone has to give their interpretation, and then how do you actually execute it, right?
Well, the ability to execute it makes that a performing artist, because they understand with an audience how to execute it, and that's what makes that performing artist unique in society, because when all eyes are on that individual, they're still able to go to the thing that allows that nuance to be communicated.
But imagine if every day we were the performing artist and really thought, how am I communicating to my audience?
Yeah.
And how am I going to use my words to actually help them understand what I'm trying to communicate?
We have a guest here that's very excited. He made me ring the bell because I'm over here like
I was like,
trying to
ring that bell for that.
They get it, and I don't get it. I'm sitting here, what?
What you just said was that's, to me, that's an inner peace, world peace moment right there.
Right.
Where if we imagine the full impact our words have on each other, every single day, how much every single word matters, and how we say it, and what we mean by it. There are not so many suicides, not so many depressed people, not so many isolated people. We'd actually want to talk, and we know how to listen, we know how to care, because we're practicing how to give that and receive that. You know, that's huge. You're talking about life-saving philosophies right now.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Expand,
we should also
expand.
sign up for
get it.
acting class, because that's, to me, whenever I listen to Thomas teach, or even when you come on and share your spoken word and engage me into a reality of life that I wish we could all day long, speak from that. But a lot of people don't have that courage to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
But from a Buddhist perspective or yogic perspective or the Tao or the Zen, you understand that there is a cause and effect with our thoughts, with our words, and our actions. So it starts here, and then how do we put it out? And a lot of people aren't in harmony with what's in their head and what comes out of their mouth. But if we can bring that into harmony and really think, oh, I want you to understand and hear this, but where are you listening from? Where are you coming from? And how do I adjust my words so you can hear me?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. But here's a little artistic reality in terms of that. What you like and what you don't like, or if a person is not liking something or they are liking something, that's more indicative of where they're at. They're in relative mind, they're in dualistic perspective, they're in an associative mind or formatory apparatus. So you can already assess their state of mind based on how they're trying to make it a right or a left thing.
So I'm going to Google a few of those words just to let you know. You lost
an
my
associative.
Formatory, I was like, I've got to Google that.
Relative mind is what the Chinese and the Zen people call dualistic mind. That's all that is. Formatory apparatus is something that a metaphysician by the name of Gurdjieff would label the dualistic mind. The formatory apparatus, the part that goes right, left.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the artist or a poet like you and you is that these words, how they're assembled, and you not being in that dualistic mind has the possibility of taking your audience out of their dualistic mind.
Correct.
Which takes them out of their file cabinet of a mind. And then we have now we have an audience elevated, all tapping into that universal thread that ties us all together.
Right. And ready to experience something different.
They're not going to experience something different. They're going to experience what we're all experiencing, because once that universal chord gets struck, we are sensing and feeling simultaneously.
Well, I meant out of duality.
Yeah.
So that's the.
Well, I meant out of duality.
Yeah, you don't get to be conscious of the universal connection in duality. So it's sort of a moot point.
I'm just putting like letting people know we were talking about being in a non-dualistic
being
space.
Aware of your awareness kind of deal. Yeah, we're getting
well that's what
now.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why we're here. We can have this conversation. Otherwise, we can't even get close to it, because because of what you do and the magic that you work with your symbols up through your sensibility and how you want to impact me or her or 1,000 or 10,000 or a bazillion people based on what medium you're going to wind up in. Whether you're a politician talking to the people from the heart, the heart, and unifying your people, and then hopefully unifying everybody, and hopefully using that in a way that helps us stay together and be better. But as an artist or as a poet, you guys are like, you know what's so cool about poetry is that the juxtaposition of those words, simply uttered, can help us wake up, and we don't even know how the hell you just did that. Because when you take us on those symbolic journeys, you're using the symbols of the words to create a greater understanding, and then you're taking those greater understandings and putting them and piecing them together, and they all add up to something else. Like the Da De Ching. How that's written, and get a good interpretation of the Da De Ching, and oh my God. Like you have the one phrase, right? And it seems to be completely disconnected from the next phrase. And then you sit there and you'll study the next phrase, and all of a sudden you got the third phrase, which is the result of the rhythm of this particular whatever structure that they're using. And it all adds up to this huge universal concept. That you can't even put into words. It had to be put into an abstract of symbols, like colors, like a red. Okay, that's a red, and then this next pentameter or whatever you would call it is a blue.
Right.
And then those things mix together in the mind and the concepts, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, right?
Yeah.
And then it becomes, and the poetry becomes like this wonderful representation of a paradox.
It becomes purple? What did you say?
The red and the blue.
Red and blue.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, but how difficult is it to really explain the human condition?
No, it's really
only
simple.
through this paradox and this hypocrisy of being a human, because there's so many elements that are going into allowing us just to get along together. You know
what? I'm gonna have to come up here and interview you one day. Like, that's what I'm gonna have to do.
I think actually, if you could pull out another riff, as Thomas called it, is that what you called it earlier?
You like the riffs?
Because like I think as we're talking about this, it's kind of like, a bunch of people sitting around drinking tea and we're philosophically discussing something.
I don't know. That's pretty spot on. Because we went to the origin of words, origin of symbols, or the why we speak, the purpose of speaking. You nailed it. Unification, coexistence, keeping us together.
Yeah. I nailed it, but you hammered it. And you screwed
and so
it
now
over
let's play.
You plywooded it. You plywooded it?
Plywooded it.
I'm losing metaphors. There's so many metaphors right now.
Do another poem.
Yeah. And also, real quick, I want to jump in on even how you presented, how many people are willing to put, that have the courage, you said, about using these words properly or as best they can, right? And I always notice how we can focus on something that is lacking and feel like there's so many people not doing that. But as soon as you find out about things like nonviolent communication,
right,
and those kind of groups that are happening all the time,
we had some nonviolent.
We had
some. The thing is, I remind myself there's a lot of people doing that work on the other end too.
That's true.
And so that if you need motivation, if that helps sometimes for people, I know that's helped me out. Where if I focus on everything negative happening, with people that aren't doing things, why would I want to get up and do something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's so many people doing more things that we don't even know about.
Yeah,
that'd be a great moment to clarify.
Clarify, absolutely. And to speak to the fact that, even in spoken word, there's things like Toastmasters, there's spoken word nights where you could get up on stage and experiment saying one of your poems, or you can have a lot of fun with spoken word.
Yeah.
And there's meetup groups everywhere that has any interest, nonviolent communication. So thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
The glass is full.
Right? More than we even know. Oh my gosh. All right, so you want another one, huh? Another riff?
A riff.
Another riff?
Listen, I was just going to say, though,
what's up?
The power of the poet is just not for the spoken word artist. Power of the poet. You can be a poet doctor, a poet cop, a poet. You can the poetry comes out of
that poet cop.
Yeah,
just got off the clock.
So
eating a donut.
Yeah, but
that's amazing.
Isn't it really how you're seeing the world and how you're collecting those images and staying out of the way and letting them kind of build up, and all of a sudden out comes something that lands. And if you're communicating to people, ideally, you're a freaking poet.
Yeah, I mean, it's the artistic mind in general. To be general and simplistic about it, I've talked to friends of mine that are cops, they're lawyers, that have the funniest mindset, that can tell you a story like they're there, you know, they put you in the place there, and it's so amazing to see these storytellers that are just everyday people. So again, it's like you said, it is a mind state. It is a willingness also, I think, a willingness to explore that too. And I feel like this ties in with that one actually. Yeah, y'all ready?
Get that camera on him. Get a dual shot of this guy. Multiple cameras. That's coming out of him?
I saw a drive-by of shooting stars as she walks 5 blocks in high tops, her lips locked, and stops by a bus stop. The sound of hip-hop from a car and a teen's flip-flops from afar drown out of her mind. She finds herself paralyzed, a situation she needs to analyze. A passerby looks into her eyes and wonders vicariously what her sight is inhaling. Her head is tilted to the left a bit. An awkward pose, as many know, but the glow in her eyes puts the average guy in surprise with a curious, lifeless light bulb floating just inches above their hairline. She's not fine, fly, fat, fresh, or even ripe. She stands still now, staring, as if she's seen a dream-filled mountaintop, a single solitary raindrop, or maybe just a person whose personal aura personified the perception of love. And I see her standing there, stuck on the street in memory lane. I was about to make a left in my brain, but she made me pause like the same button used for play. This day, something was unique, and the words wouldn't come from me to speak, and I wanted to yell out to her, ask what she saw. But I hesitated and debated whether or not my direction she would even direct her attention to, but something she made me see in myself was more than enough trouble. I'd use glue just to make it fit, and so I sit on this curb, perturbed by her essence of this truth that she sees and this daze that she's in. And I'm swimming in thoughts like arm, breath. Arm, breath, arm, breath, arm, breath, but 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 arm, breath. And just when I think I can catch the side of her pupil, the mere force of her presence repels my pressure. But at the same time, it leaves my effort pleasantly satisfied, because you see, I tried to reach her. I tried to reach this simple, obvious woman of a complicated paradise. I tried to reach her. And so I stand up from this curb and dust off the debris of this memory and remind myself that every tomorrow is a new way to find today. Thanks again for listening, y'all.
Wow. Now I want to read it.
So, of course, just to start out our next level of conversation, the name of that one is called In Her Peace. And you say it really fast. What do you get?
In her peace.
In her peace. Inner peace.
Yep.
Wow.
Inner peace.
Questions, comments, considerations, because this kind of piece is something that I do at schools, and I make sure to have dialogue about it. When you said about scene study, that happens every single day with poetry.
Right.
We're scene studying poetry all the time. Every open mic is a scene study. Every event I host is a scene study, because we talk about these things afterwards.
Right. Well, that's one of the fun things that you can experience in college, like the philosophical discussion. That's what I was talking about. Like, it's fun to be able to, like, just examine what is. Like, I want to read what you just said to me, because I'm a visual, like, I'm like, wow, you know, I feel it, and I'm stuck at certain spots.
Good,
you know,
good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to get stuck at certain spots, you want to revisit again, and that builds up the desire again to dive more into yourself for whatever that piece did for you. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. Anything else?
Well, can you share a little bit with how the kids respond when you work with at the elementary school? How this awakens them?
Yeah, not even elementary. This is Elementary, sometimes
elementary,
I'll
I'm
visit.
old. You just awoken me.
Middle school
Good
is
Lord.
amazing.
You
And I'm
just
wearing
woke-
also, as a shout out,
me.
I got to wear a shout out to Vanguard.
At Joy Score Inc. If
Are
you
you
want
a
to watch this,
Chippendales
guys.
dancer,
At
or
Joy
what's-
Score.
First
At
of
Joy
all,
Score.
that was very gender unequal of you, okay? Just because a man
At
is
Suzanne
unbuttoning his shirt
Toro.
means
At
it's
Suzanne
sexual.
Toro official. If you want
Okay.
to watch the full
Hashtag
production.
Well, I didn't
Me
call
too.
you a
Right
Playboy
now.
bunny.
No, oh my gosh, Suzanne. No, but the thing is, Vanguard Prep was one of the schools I visited last year. You are going to laugh at that for
Sorry.
like the next
Well, I'm
10
like, how
minutes.
can I make
love
how
you
can I
guys.
make
I
it
love y'all.
gender neutral?
Yeah.
I better include the Playboys with the
Well done.
Chippendales.
Thank you for that. No, that means a lot. I mean, okay. I hope they're not watching this now, because now it feels weird.
No,
Yeah,
forget
this-
those characters. Let's go back to the elementary school and what happens.
You're clearly doing something for her
Apparently,
over there.
apparently.
Your charisma.
Oh my god! No, but the thing is, this is the beautiful part: is that middle school is it's amazing hit and miss, because a lot of kids will get it. A lot of students will understand. I don't even like calling them kids, right? Sometimes they don't like being called kids. So a lot of students, even at Vanguard Prep in Apple Valley, they were so open to it, and they were so quiet and attentive to trying to take in as much as they can. Because they know something special is happening. They know some kind of story they want to grab is happening, right?
Right.
One of the first times I shared it was at Oscar de la Hoya Middle School. Oscar de la High School, and I started teaching there after this, actually. And it was really impactful because I remember one kid right in the front seat. I still remember her face and everything. That when I got to the swimming in thoughts part, and it gets really intense there, I tried not to laugh in my mind, okay? Because she was like. And like she was feeling every single second of the story, and that makes me feel so fulfilled as an artist when someone's just trying to understand what you're saying, and they're trying to at least take in what you're saying.
I think you went past trying. I think she got it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You never know. You never know. A lot of people will feel intense emotions and be like, "What did that poem mean? I just felt a lot, but I don't know what just happened."
Well, they weren't
You
feeling
know?
the poem at all. They were feeling you.
Right.
Through
Or
the
feeling-
poem,
or
through the
feeling
words.
Our mutual collective consciousness.
That's right, baby.
Brought
That
back.
lets you know you're in the right place.
Yes, absolutely.
When you're doing your work.
And I think in colleges, I just hosted CSUN's Expressions recently, and in that college, it's a moment where I think there's just absolute stillness. I think there's a lot of students there. They know they came there for a reason. They know they were feeling whatever kind of drag in life or whatever kind of things they were missing, or you know, they wanted some fun for sure after like a 12-hour day of classes, and they just want to soak it in and feel good and feel connected again to themselves, to others. It was such a great turnout last time where people shared everything from music to comedy. Sometimes we'll have modern dancers to share something. It literally is an open mic, and so yeah. So to answer that question, yeah. Of all walks of life, all ages, it doesn't get old to me to see people be vulnerable, share something, and then connect with everyone else in that room. Because you know, the more you share with someone, the more you share in general with more people in general, you're bound to find someone that connects with you.
Absolutely.
You're bound to not feel empty anymore.
Hey, you can take the accident out of there. You seemingly are. You know, you can guarantee a universal connection if you are in that space that unifies us.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of a great singer, whatever platform. That's the magic of a great actor. That's a great magic of a great dancer. That somehow we're defining, or great athlete. Those guys show up wherever they happen to show up, and all of a sudden we're riveted.
Right.
We're riveted. We're like, wow, this is entertainment. This is something that's going to remove
entertainment.
It's
right?
going to remove.
Well, it stays with you.
It's going to remove that relative mind, or that formatory apparatus, or that dualistic feature, and we go, wow, I'm going to pay for that. I'm going to pay to be transported into this wonderful little moment with a bunch of people,
right?
Through you, through your leadership.
Yeah.
And that's what you are when you're up on a stage. You're leading us all into whatever mantra you've decided to take us through.
Right.
Whether it's through movement or through voice or using your poetry. The ancients look at poetry as making pastime present.
Ooh.
That's a quote from somebody extraordinary. That's an ancient. That's a Zen.
Yeah.
That might be Lao Tzu.
Well, it's a lot better than I remember some ancient Greeks that said poetry is the signs of like a madman invigorating us with such life and imaginative stories that we become delusional.
Well,
there was like some ideas like that. That was crazy.
Hey, but to an academic stuck in his head,
right?
In order for him to contemplate that level of freedom, that level of fearlessness, you would have to be crazy from his perspective.
Right.
But from the artist's perspective, we have to enter into that space. We have to leap. We have to jump in. We have to dare that we don't know what we know and see what happens.
And invite everyone else in.
To an academic,
the water is not
to
that
somebody
cold,
stuck
y'all.
in their head. They may not even be able to get out of their analysis of what you just said or what you just did, or be more concerned whether it's a perfect iambic pentameter or whether it's fitting into somebody else's form. Whereas you just redefine form based on the quality of the experience you just created. And that's culture being born out of you in that moment. A lot of people look at culture as something in the past. No, culture is being redefined moment to moment by anybody ballsy enough, fearless enough to step into the moment. And see it with a fresh pair of eyes and redefine the rules based on what's needed, not what has gone past.
Right.
A lot of the culture to me is really it's a miss because it's usually referenced to historical reference.
Well, culture is what a community exhibits in creative process. Like, you go to like Guatemala to see the textiles and how they weave them and the technique and the creation energy with it, or you might go to Greece and see the food that they make. That's the culture. So it should be redefined in every single moment. Right now what we have is a lot of pop culture,
and constantly in flux. And even the pop culture will find its way into a unique expression through whatever that individual has experienced. And however it's expressed, but the common denominator is, does that person take us all on that journey with them? And the big mystery is how are they doing that? And that's what says that person's talented. That person, and talent for me at this point is defined by somebody's fearlessness and their ability to.
So where's the
to be free?
See how to word this. This is a question to both of you. Where is the most courageous place that you stepped into, meaning that required you to really shed any type of fear and become fearless within your craft?
Well, it's moment to moment, because I can think.
Just an example of one, so you can share it with.
I got a few already.
The listener.
And you know what? I'll even tie in two previous thoughts real quick I was having. As again, we're just talking again. There's so many layers that we're talking about. Culture. You've inspired me to want to write a poem now about reshaping and redefining culture and what that means to us. Right. Second of all, leadership. When you say that, like, I used to be afraid of that word. And I know a lot of people listening and watching can relate to that, where I grew up just not the most bold person. I wasn't the most courageous or fearless person, at least in my eyes, right?
Your brother was.
My brother was, for sure, but at the same time, from maybe sometimes a misguided place, right? From an arrogance or like thinking like I need to do something to prove myself sometimes, right? But at the same time, there's a moment where I realize I'm just guiding, Guiding is a form of leadership that I think is underrated, understated. And we all guide each other every day. We all share an idea or share a YouTube thing or something, and we're all trying to guide each other to a better place. And so it took off a lot of that expectation weight for me. You know what I mean? So I wanted to add that into this current question now about fearlessness or no, how did you say it? Courage? What were you saying?
Well, where you stepped into fearlessness, but what took the most courage, like you were describing it as that young word, where you're like, ooh.
So the first time was at CSUN. Again, in my college experience, we had a big circle of chairs. We'd share each other's poems, had it all typed out, and we'd tear them apart. And we'd say, what does this really mean? Why did you use that word? That word doesn't impact me that much. And we'd say it with respect, with love for the craft, love for each other. Absolutely. We learned that as we were doing it. Right. And a shout out to my academics, actually, because there are so many academics that do respect this form of art and this culture right now, right? Barisi, Dr. Barisi and Leilani Hall were two of my favorite poetry teachers.
Lovely.
And Dawa Harry taught critical reasoning within poetry, which was phenomenal. And so to dive into these places where I knew no one, And then by the end of this semester, we all have either cried at some poem that each other has written. We all really thanked each other for the impact that their feedback gave us. Some of us were already starting to write books already at that age. And we wrote our first chapbooks, which were these small, like, you know, like less than 20 pages kind of books for a lot of people that don't know what chapbooks are. It's a great way to start out in case you feel like, oh, I have to write a 200-page novel. You know? It really does help to start off small, you know? And I think another time where I remember that feeling is where I wrote a poem that was not very popular in the mainstream, where I wanted to give the kind of perspective to understand the kind of other side of things with police brutality, and especially in protests and marches and things like that of that nature, where I was so worried about how this piece was going to be received and the kind of blowback I would get, that I was stuttering more than usual. I had the dry throat thing, all of that was happening, and I'd already done it maybe for about 5 years at this point, right?
Wow.
And I think every time I get that kind of nervousness,
you know it's good.
I know, not that it's just good, right? Good is such one of those like actor words where like, oh yeah, that scene was good. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I guess it's like okay or good. What's beyond okay or good?
In terms of good, we know it was something that needed to be discussed. That we're so focused on one side of issues that we're not really listening to every side of something.
Right.
And at the same time, that doesn't mean I disagree with the overall right or wrong message we're going with. It means I think we should take some more time to listen to this empathetic approach.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know, insulting someone with a name is not actually helping things. You know? And I was so afraid to share those kind of thoughts until more people said, hey, you know what? I've kind of been thinking that way too. I wasn't sure if like I could say that, you know?
Yeah.
And every time I hear that, it becomes almost like a silent epidemic. Where so many people don't share these other thoughts that they have the courage that they could build up until they hear someone say it, and now it's stronger.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna fan that more, and it's beautiful every single time, y'all. Yeah.
You just define leadership right there, and even in the academics that you were defending. I was using it derogatorily in terms of somebody stuck in their head.
Yeah, I know.
Stuck in an ideology. Nothing more dangerous than a PhD stuck in his ideology, not being able to connect with the actual physiology of the person that he's working with.
What's that?
There's nothing more dangerous than an academic that's stuck in his ideology that can't see outside of his own box, that he's only verified through other people's ideas and hasn't had one fresh thought of his own. Because he can't really sense what's going on. But these academics that educated you were able to take a book, move it through them, and inspire you. That's a teacher. That's not an academic stuck in his head. That's somebody who's fully aware of the impact that he's having on his audience. Not unlike a performer, because a great teacher is an entertainer. I had somebody tell me that education doesn't have to be entertaining. Somebody said, I actually heard a professor say that, and I was like, oh my God, you just totally missed the whole boat, buddy. But the point is that,
gosh, wow,
you know, there are those that, and you know, look at PhDs can be dangerous.
Yeah, no, absolutely are.
But beyond that, if they have that,
a PhD
then they can be creative.
We can be more specific, right?
Yeah, but they can be creative. But they can be creative and then discover and actually apply and bring the things together that actually have to happen, as opposed to something somebody else prescribed, something somebody else did that doesn't quite fit what that individual needs. And that's what you're doing as a poet for an audience too.
Yeah. And I do make sure like a lot of my poems are either universally received in that way, where I put the academic work into it, I put the poetic devices into it, I put some kind of I do try to break cliches. That was one of the first like pieces of knowledge I ever remember getting from my poetry classes at CSUN, was you never want to say a cliche. Every time you hear something that sounds like, oh yeah, I've heard that, don't want to do that. Yeah. And it was brilliant.
Well, cliche is, if I'm not mistaken, is more a basis, a statement of truth.
Stereotypical truth, yes.
As opposed to convention. Yes. I think you're thinking more breaking convention as opposed to...
Yes and no, because in terms of cliches and how we hear them, you know, the sky is so radiant, you know, the sun is so bright, full of life, right? Those kind of cliches, unless you reinvent them. That's the only time they said you could use a cliche. And again, these are all things I offer.
What did we say, though, at the beginning, though? Those are just words and symbols.
Just words and symbols, young man.
But what would you bring up through those words
what
make them no longer a cliche.
Right.
Because now it's how you're expressing it. So
I feel like you're on a mission to make me feel really special.
Dude, I don't have to do that. You already are, dude. What do you mean? We're lucky to have you in here. The joy scores, in terms of how we perceive the world, that's what this room is about. Joy score is about reteaching us how to see the world that we live in with fresh pairs of eyes so that we can maintain our levels of being and be of service and see what needs to be done and take effective action.
Yeah.
And that's raising your joy score because it allows you to... So you and your vocation, you and your passion is by definition the antithesis of what it is that we're seeking in our lives on a moment-to-moment basis. You know, as a poet expresses himself, he has like that freedom, at least in those moments that he's doing his work. And as all artists are most free when they are doing their work. And nor could they even contemplate being without that skill set. To whether it's a guitar or whether it's their voice or whether it's words or whether it's a writer or whether it's a filmmaker or whether it's whatever it is that you're interpreting.
Yeah.
Trying to bring whatever understanding that you have up through that and bringing as much of yourself and making that available to your audience as possible creates that entertainment value. And that's what's so beautiful. That's why I love you guys. You're poets. You're poets, and it's like you said, I want to see that on the page.
Yeah.
Because I might look at that poem for a month and scratch my head like I do with the Da De Ching and just scratch my head and I don't get it. But then it's not me getting it, it's me getting to another place within myself in order to see what the artist intended. Right? All of a sudden there's like, oh my God, that's what it was.
Well,
or maybe that's what it could have been, or that's what it is for me now.
I think it's more that, because I don't know, within my writing of poetry, I mean, it's an expression. It depends. It's not, sometimes it's like for a group or it's personal, but I always want there to be interpretation. I don't want it. I don't want someone to completely understand. Like, I'm not even writing it from one lens usually, unless it's very personal, like it's, an ode of love, But I want, and even then, everyone's going to have their own interpretation of it, right? But I really actually write from that lens. Like, I just want everyone to have this, like, interaction with it.
That's the beauty of words, and that's the symbols on the page without you supporting it. But that poem somehow captures the essence of the poet.
Absolutely.
And without them being alive, without them being within the vicinity, but somehow that juxtaposition of those symbols in a particular way or particular rhythm sends a message that reflected that individual in that point in time, like making past time present. Once you write it down, it's already in the past. Now it's sitting in a computer. It's sitting somewhere else. Until what? Until a poet grabs it and makes it live again. Makes it present through their presence.
Or a performing artist.
Yeah.
Through they grasp that past and they bring it back up through them, and boom, it's here again.
So, Thomas, we know you know some passages. Can you give us a little right now?
I don't.
See if something comes up.
Put me on the spot.
We'll see if it rises up.
That I have like really profound responses to right now already to what we're all talking about. Have we all seen A Star Is Born?
Yes.
Wow, right?
That movie personified what it's like to be an artist, especially a musician, in such a beautiful way, in a real way, that it reminded me of how much we should also practice not letting words affect us. And how much we need to practice knowing ourselves enough to be able to shut certain things out that are not feeding us properly. And you kind of made me think about that with how much we're open as artists and we're so vulnerable and we care so much about these words and each other. And at the same time, if someone doesn't know how to do that for us, whether it be relationships or politics or whatever we want to talk about, to practice that form of, I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm going to stay focused and present. I'm going to still care about this person, even though what they just said was mind-blowingly, infuriatingly insulting and decimating to my core.
Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
It matters to the point where we can still continue that dialogue, but take that moment for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's so vital. Again, we're talking about life or death. A lot of people say words don't matter or words, won't break my bones, but words can do worse than that. We know that now.
Yeah.
Words can decimate a soul and don't need to break your bones.
Yeah.
You're right. So that's what I wanted to kind of. You made me think of that immediately. So thank you for sharing.
Like there's something like as you ask a performer, like there's a piece written by an extraordinarily famous car designer, right? And for him, this was his poetry, and he based his entire philosophy and motivation towards his audience that would eventually drive his car. And it goes, time cannot be influenced by mankind. It gives each of us a beginning and an end, and this makes us question the significance of what comes in between. But if we can create something truly timeless, something which ignores the eccentricities of a particular time or era, that would be the ultimate victory.
I like that.
And that's a piece of poetry from an automobile maker by the name of Ferdinand Porsche.
Or was that a poem from a poet who happens to make automobiles?
I think so.
You know what I mean? Right? Because in my world, I see us all as poets, right? And we don't know it yet. And then we're defining these people as their job or profession, right? I love the way you put that, though. Thank you. Thank you for even having that moment.
But even having seen that one time before,
right? And
even probably since then seen it on a commercial.
Yeah.
You know, they take it and they use it and they exploit it.
Yes, they do.
If I think about my journey in terms of what it was that I was doing, I could take that and I could say that to myself. And I could recenter myself. Time cannot be influenced by mankind. It gives us a beginning and an end. And for me, that was a sense of my own mortality, that I better get up off my ass and get busy. You know, and I think it's probably that first line that hooked me. Time cannot be influenced by mankind. It gives each of us a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
And this makes us question the significance of what comes in between. It's like, wow, man, action and cut. Yeah. It's like life is action and cut. And and that's it. And that's what we got. And we can make something of it and put our best foot forward and motivate ourselves to see the world with a fresh pair of eyes every day. And that's a simple, you know, he's not the poet of poets. And of course you have Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I mean, how clearly can you state the cliche of Hamlet and his own personal struggle to deal with his inner demons and his ability to try to figure out to be or not to be?
That is the question.
Oh my God. You're in my mind.
Whether it's nobler in the mind to suffer
the slings and
arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against deceived troubles,
and by opposing end them.
To die, to sleep.
To sleep perchance to dream.
Oh! Tingle!
There's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come once we have shuffled off this mortal coil. I think I missed a phrase in there.
Yeah,
to die, to sleep.
Yeah.
To sleep perchance
It's close
to dream.
enough, though. We got it.
We got
and did we all know that was the influence for the movie What Dreams May Come? That was the title?
I rewrote that. You know, I'm a really like Shakespearean tragic romantic, and
in that sleep of death, what dreams may come.
Look at you.
There's the respect. No, there's the respect that makes calamity so long life.
Yes, you remember that. That's amazing.
There's the respect that makes calamity so long life.
Yeah, that was it. You get
anyways, any of those. I mean, that's a writer and poet, so you can see how possibly the man perceived the world around him,
right?
And through his writing. And you can see that, he's probably poking fun at us, because if we ask ourselves the question, did Hamlet choose to be or not to be?
Yeah.
And if you look at the results of his actions, we would say that he chose not to be, that he got sucked into his own demons and started making choices that caused everybody to fall. You know, and then Shakespeare's like, wow, he's just like teaching us a big lesson here.
Right.
You go down the wrong road, you're gonna lose everything you ever loved, and you're gonna go down in a freaking blaze of fire of hell fury.
Yeah.
But a lot of people look at it like, did he choose to? Oh, sure, he chose to be. Fuck, no, he didn't. he screwed up.
But isn't that the whole, like, that's the whole irony of how much we discuss these things to the point where it's supposed to affect us. We're supposed to change our lives, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you even brought up that example of us debating back and forth about those things. And it reminds me of that Bruce Lee quote, right? About staring at the moon. And he's like, look. And he's like, don't look at my finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory, right? And it was such a beautiful moment to remind us, stop looking at the thing that's teaching us how to look at the thing.
Right.
Enjoy the thing.
Yes.
Enjoy this life.
Yes.
Figure out this life for you, right? And it's such a frustratingly beautiful thing, you know? Like, it's a happy frustration for me.
Absolutely.
And look at all the joy that we have reflecting back on these great poets.
We all have like big smiles on our face.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it all.
Share, because he has a couple exciting things. He suddenly is surprised that he's writing a book.
Yes,
Do
tell
you
us
want to
about
share
all
us
these
a little
things.
bit about that?
Tell us about
Here's
you
the
and what
thing.
you're doing now.
So here's
this
the
book.
thing. I was waiting for the right moment.
How's it?
So I'm on my Patreon page right now.
Yeah.
That I have not launched yet, because it's a direct tool to actually communicate with people that want to utilize workshops, my albums, anything they want to invest in me as an artist.
Yep.
And I invest back in them as an audience member. It's almost like a stock kind of thing, but we're human beings.
Right.
Right? So
It's
this
a
is
great
the launch.
way.
This is the official launch.
You're doing it right now.
Right now. I'm
I'm
click
gonna
launch.
No,
paste
he's
it.
not.
Get ready,
He's
y'all.
gonna
Ready?
launch. Wait a
We got
second.
a ring.
We got
ready?
to.
I knew you'd be the right
So we
one.
have a launch going on here.
3. I'm clicking it.
Are you going? Are you
I'm
live?
clicking it. And this is how
right.
it looks. This is how it looks right here.
Zoom in on it.
Is it under your name or Let's Bend Reality?
Hold it up a little bit.
It should be under Let's Bend Reality. Yes. Patreon.com/Let's Bend Reality. I'm about to wait. Oh, this is so exciting. Okay, I'm gonna pretend that it launched. Otherwise, I think it's just refreshing. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm checking it too. It might take a second.
This has been the kind of launch I wanted to do, to also announce that I'm writing a second book, and it's going to be all solo poetry this time around. Every workshop I was in this last year with my friend James Kyson and other people like Jeff Walker, these other friends of mine that are amazing artists as well, they would say, "Hey, that poem was amazing. Like you should put that into your next book. You should put that into your next book." And once I get that, 20 times in a few months, I'm kind of like, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
The universe is telling you.
And so I'm at this point now where I think, not just from what people are saying, but I did have a genuine urge to make sure that I left a full, complete library of poetry that I know I could say, I gave this to the world. I offered world peace through inner peace. And I made sure every single tool that's necessary to attain that is within this book. And I can die happily.
I want you to say that again. I offered.
It really does mean that much to me.
I know, but say that again.
That I offered every single tool that I know of how to attain world peace through inner peace in a realistic and fun way with this book.
Wow.
Like a lot of people don't think world peace is real, but it's already happening. It's already existing in places like this right now.
Right.
When we can do this, and other people are inspired to do this, and they're doing it in a peaceful, accepting, loving, open-minded way, what else exists besides that? Now we're in the world, we're part of the world. This is peace.
What else exists? Those people fighting for it.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Is to know that there's a way to attain this, and it doesn't have to be as much of a struggle or fight or a kind of war that we think it has to be.
Do you have the name? Do we have a
No,
connect?
This is all blueprint stage, because now I get to actually create it and share the process of how I'm
do we
going
keep
about
up with
it
you? How do we keep up with you?
Yeah.
On Patreon. I was
On
calling
the
it
Patreon.
Patron the other night.
Suzanne.
How do we spell that?
First of all, when I was listening earlier about this ice cream and all these liquors you're putting in it, I was kind of worried about y'all. We might have some liquors in it.
You guys can go to JoyScore and all that information for
It is
how do we say
officially
it?
launched. It is officially
here it
launched
is. It is
right
official,
now.
and I'm putting the link on the interview below.
Oh my God, that's so exciting!
Yeah.
Okay, so each membership level, right? You can donate, or however you want to look at it. There's donation. You can look at it as a donation. You're becoming a member of what I do to give the world back any kind of artistic things, right? So you can invest in me making another video that I'm going to post about inner peace and world peace with people that I interview all the time. You can invest in getting a workshop done. You can donate $100 a month. You get a guaranteed workshop with me for 1 hour at the least.
Beautiful.
And that's me one-on-one, whether it's in person or not.
I'm
we'll
down.
make it happen. The lower levels of $10 and $1 and things like that. You get my album. I have a spoken word album that's on iTunes. It's official, all that kind of stuff. And it's something that I still know to this day, actually, that there are people and their kids that even listen to it that are still impacted by my poetry on this album that I made a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad to hear that kind of feedback, because otherwise I wouldn't know. You know, as artists, we don't know. We don't know what we're putting out there until something comes back to us, right? Until someone says, hey, you know what? You're not crazy. I get that. And thank you for letting me get that.
Or thank you for being crazy and putting that out there.
Right. And it's... and I even brought some artwork even of kids and stuff that have given me thank you cards and things like that. And I feel like, I don't...
Please
honestly,
share.
Y'all, I don't share this stuff enough. And I feel like you two are the people that I can share this with.
That's right, you
Absolutely,
can.
and we got to call them out.
So this was made by Gina B. I'm not going to give her last name, but Gina, I don't think I ever thanked you. This is from when I did a team-inspired workshop. And she literally color painted this.
Wow.
Right? And then she wrote a kind of like paragraph poem to me on the back of it.
Got to read it, some of it.
Yeah, I'll read some of it. Hey, Sean, you are absolutely amazing. I can let my words fly so high, but the words don't express the mind and spirit you have. Thank you so much for sharing who you are. She went on to say, many hearts instantly lift, and it was through your presence and words and laughter, humor, expression. I'm so thankful our paths have crossed. Like, it was almost scary at this point. I'm like, what are you about to say? Like, are you in my backyard, Gina? Like, no, I'm kidding. And then she explained the colors. She said, the colors of your lips are orange to represent nature's light through a sunset. For you speak truth, beauty, and light. I love when the smile in my heart raises into my face. We are all beautiful beings of light, capable of far more than we imagine. Life is a never-ending, growing experience. Thank you for everything. I look forward to you being on the Ellen Show, which I told her was a dream of mine. Like, I plan on doing that. Like, this by the end of this year or next, early year, I'm gonna, like, me and Ellen. I feel like I would be her. By the way, if I was like a white lesbian woman, I would be Ellen. Okay, and she said, yeah, I look forward to you igniting many hearts from all over the world to transform into new hearts. And it's just like stuff like this.
Wow.
This is what keeps me going.
Nice.
And I'll give 2 shout outs real quick also. Last shout outs to UB. I worked with UB, the school supply chain company that whenever you buy supplies from them, they give supplies to students in need.
Wow.
They give supplies to schools that need desperate supplies.
Is it Y what?
YOOBI.com. Yeah, I highly recommend them.
Y or I?
To UB.
With the I at the end.
.com.
Yeah, and the fun little toucan thing they have is so cute. It's just so cute. And the kids love it. The last organization I worked with recently was called Create a Smile. CreateSmiles.org. They're like Make-A-Wish Foundation, but with kids that have cancer to a little bit of a higher age. Because the Make-A-Wish Foundation has a certain cutoff age that doesn't reach, I think, into like the early 20s or so. So they wanted to accommodate even those students in college, and they're still dealing with childhood cancer that reached into college, you know what I mean? So they do a lot of great work. We just did a fundraiser that raised over $65,000.
Awesome.
And it was
Yay.
a beautiful night, and Shireen Youssef, the founder of it, was so wonderful to work with. She gives me these thank you cards. Sean, so many thoughts, but not enough words to tell you how I feel. Tonight was perfect. I appreciate you. Love you. Shireen. These kind of things keep me going. Oh my God,
It's a reminder to us all that we could take a moment and thank people, right? Gratitude changes your attitude.
Yes, if you want to write a card
Not only
to
your
someone,
own, but when you give it to someone else.
Suzette, you are a card. Okay?
I am a card.
You are a card. You're like, ugh.
I did have a card line once.
Are you serious? Yeah. See, I think I am psychically connected somehow with you guys.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, the Wayfair Entertainment, Wayfair Foundation, they put on a once a year event that's like the climax of all the kind of homeless work they do and Skid Row work they do. It's called the Carnival of Love, right? And I participate in that every year, offering a free workshop for people that want to write poems. And
Very nice.
Doesn't get old. Again, you never know what people are going through until you hear their stories. And I invite everyone to check this out too. And Justin Baldoni is the guy who started it. I think he started it maybe like 8-9 years ago. And it started with just a parking lot in the Mission what was it called? The Union Mission parking lot.
Right.
And there was just clothes, food, little giveaway things of toiletries. And now, y'all, they locked down 3 blocks.
Wow.
And they have so many different organizations and people coming together for foot washing stations, for behavioral therapy, for making their own driver license cards.
You're another godsend, man.
And
you're
there were
another
multiple people that
You're
were
another
actually,
Long Beach angel, baby.
Wow.
Right? There were multiple people that actually got jobs to work in that event. And they benefited from that community in Skid Row.
Wow, nice.
So he really is doing this work to actually give back to the community and make sure it's happening. Yes, Wayfarer Foundation.
Oh.
If you look them up on Facebook, wherever, you'll find them. You'll Google them. He says, Sean, you are a master at love. Justin, I'm gonna bro hug you so good for reading this again. Thank you times infinity for always stepping up, supporting, loving, hugging, and blowing minds and hearts open with your mastery. I framed your poem. I gave him a birthday poem. I framed your poem, and your bouncy house made the carnival. Thank you for your service, man. Love you forever, Justin. And he's on, this guy is on, how am I not forgetting it? On, Jane the Virgin.
Oh,
Jane the Virgin. He's the main, like, Raphael lover interest guy. Like, he's that guy before that show ever happened. He was this loving, supportive guy. Well, listen, before any of that.
You're having impact. And
Absolutely,
so what's nice is that when you connect with people on that level, you get them to open up and to express themselves, that when you reflect on it, you might feel a little embarrassed because of the sincerity of it. But but when we go there, that's where you brought us, and that's what allows us to come out as sincere, heartfelt truth. And thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey,
happy to be here, y'all.
Listen,
happy to have you here always.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Sean Hill. What a blessing he's been. And listen, next week we have a Halloween show.
What?
That's right. We have a Halloween show. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
And a big surprise.
Yeah, and thank you to Sean Hill.
Already.
And thank you for the creamery. And thank you for
Can't wait to visit that
watching
place.
and bringing your joy scores. And go Dodgers. If they won, my joy score is going to come way up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't have the score. Woohoo!
Play the last one, Thomas.
Yep.
That don't make you happy. Nothing in this world will, baby. That's ice cream. That's ice cream.
So we're here at the Long Beach Creamery, locally organic, handmade ice cream.
Don't know and don't care, but to be fair,